Intel roster that Yeso was touching base on. But you look at this Nerf roster, Turns, Forsey, and Messiah. Messiah is a former #1 Predator. You have Turns that has been gaming and playing since the very first seasons of Apex. If they're sitting outside of that relegation area, and this is a team that could basically go and play in the finals of an ALGS, that's how strong these partnered teams are. And I expect Nerf to come back swinging. I'm not expecting them to be on that lower side. I'm anticipating them to move up, and I think today's their day.
Yeah, but they do have some competition that they have to deal with, of course. This is our open night, so as long as you can get in, it's first come, first serve in terms of registration. And some of our teams, of course, that we're going to be keeping an eye out for. It's going to be Startifight Esports, Matt Pickett, Aves, and Sleepy Panda there. Another squad that, of course, we're going to be keeping an eye on. I believe, I think we should keep an eye on a team like someone Sign Us. That's a squad that we've seen being able to take a lot of fights. And you know what? I'll go ahead and throw it up for McDonald's Wi-Fi that I've been able to see casting some qualifiers over the past few weekends and have been really throwing their names in the ring. Now, you were also mentioning it, by the way, Tom, that the relegation area, it is really looking dicey so far because amongst our top 5 teams currently in the cumulative leaderboard, they're only separated by about 40-50 points. It's extremely close amongst the top 5. And so with I don't know how many exactly weeks. I think 7 more weeks left. I mean, it means you have to remain consistent across the rest of the season.
Yeah, it really does. Open night is the night where you're going to run around and being a little bit more aggressive as we take a look at the cumulative leaderboard. And again, Nerf sitting in 5th place has to be the most surprising thing, but it's because of a team like Tyson that's come through and really developed what their play style is going to be. It's an aggressive play style where they also get into the zone. So many times last week they were going and taking Complexity's spot. I think about 3 times out of the 6 games that we played, Complexity was in the quote-unquote God spot. All of a sudden Tyson goes third parties that takes their spot, gets kill points, and then does really well in the final circle. Z Davis has been playing the best Apex that I've ever seen him play. But again, there's so many strong rosters here. Even a roster like Razor, 416. That's not a lot of points for a team that is extremely talented. But again, that's just going to show how strong the lobbies are. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Team Intel with their new roster, because on paper, this roster doesn't look as strong as the previous one. But I do think that they're here for a reason, and they have a lot to prove, basically to hold on to that spot and those points that were given to them. And it's not going to be easy with 2 teams that are directly behind them. So that's why I wanted to talk about Tyson and Nerf.
No, I absolutely agree. We've seen in the past along with Rambo, and so this is a squad that, while they do have some competitive experience, is not as much as our previous Intel squad. So we'll see. By being able to kind of grandfather in with these points, how are they going to maintain that? Again, it's a tight race in between the top 5. VIZIO only leading by 48 points up against Team Nerf. So in a matter of weeks, this can easily be flipped. I mean, for the first time ever, of course, Team Intel missing out on a week of play did end up dropping out of 1st place, going down to 3rd place, allowing teams like VIZIO, etc., and others now a shot to go ahead and take that. So again, there's still a lot of room here, even for Team Razor and Team Mike and Ike. Even though they are almost at a 180 to 200 point deficit, with how many weeks we still have remaining, there's still a shot, but they need to start stepping it up. They need to start getting the 60, 70 point weeks that we're seeing out of the rest of the squads. Now, we are getting match number 1 set up right now, and as soon as we can, we will get into the games here for VIZIO Week. So what a way to start off VIZIO Week. Team VIZIO actually finally taking 1st place after last week's play.
Yeah, it's kind of like they get the vibes from the week and they play really confident because of that. One of the things that is going on right now with the current meta is if you're not going to be running a seer for teams like Razor and Mike and Ike, I don't really see how you're going to be able to get your points, because it's just so strong in being able to team fight, and you're going to have to be taking fights on an open day today. So whatever comp you're running, you're going to have to run it extremely aggressive, for all of these teams. So expect a lot of fighting to take place. It's a very fast-paced meta that's happening overall. We're seeing a lot of Newcastle, not as many Gibbies, not as many Caustics. Valkyrie's still really strong, even though there's minor Valkyrie nerfs. But the 30-30 and the Scout are really, really viable in these scrim and tournament type situations because you're able to, hold your spot. But the time to kill for these type of weapons are really high, even for a sniper rifle or a long range weapon. So if you're not running a Seer, if you're not kind of using those two weapons, especially after the changes and the buffs that happen to them with the Skull Piercer helping out with the 30-30, and the Scout's still extremely fast with the TTK, I feel like you'd be making a huge mistake. So we'll see what everyone ends up running today, but I'm definitely expecting a lot of Seers. I'm expecting a lot of aggressive play. We're seeing a lot of Watson to counter Horizon, which I feel like is really, really smart, especially when you combine that with Newcastle. But you could still play aggressive even though you're running Watson and Newcastle too, so we'll see exactly what everyone goes with.
Yeah, it's always coming down to the deferring styles, right? Center zone versus hard edge fighting. At that point, a center zone squad with the win, they can walk away usually with about a 17-point game with that win. They don't get that many kill points, but they get the plus 12. But on the other side of it, if you are constantly taking fights, you can get those 12 kill points just from fighting alone. And as long as you make it to about top 5, top 6, you're going to be generally matching the center zone squads in terms of that. But if you are a hard edge fighting team, you end up fragging out, get 15 kills, get the plus 12. That's a 27-point game. That's a massive way to start things off. Speaking of starting things off, it looks like we are almost ready. Flying through now, World's Edge. This is a fly through of the Season 10. Are we playing on Season 10 or are we playing on Season 14? Well, no, I believe that was the last update anyhow. It doesn't matter. But yeah, here we are getting set up for it. It's going to be interesting, like you said. Teams are making the adjustments. I want to see exactly what's coming out for Team Intel, a newer roster, like we said. They have to kind of learn on the fly how to play in these lobbies, especially with how drops work on our open nights, where we typically see a lot of 50-50 fighting.
I'm loving what's in the crafter too. You can see the 3x is going to be in there plus the Skull Piercer. So again, 30-30 because it could just end up being completely stacked if that's what you end up going with. But the only problem that you have when you're running around with these weapons is you can never necessarily find the right scope for them. You have to loot really fast and get out of your POI. But if you don't have the 2-4, if you don't have the 3, you will settle for a 2x in certain points, but you want to leave that for an R301 on one of your teammates. But that 3x is so strong, especially on the MNK players if they want to go and rock the R301. Or the flatlines too. There's so many different changes. Wingman's still very strong. Yes, it does take sniper ammo, but all of these weapons are weapons that you're going to be needing because you need these mid-range weapons. You need long-range weapons. You have to have a big variety on your team. Otherwise, you're not able to take fights against certain teams that are running weapons that you don't have. So here it is, game number 1 of 6 here during VIZIO week, and fight paths, we'll see exactly where everyone goes. Hopefully we get some exciting 50-50s off the rip. I missed the old CLG X set harvester 50-50s.
Looks like VIZIO dropping down over towards that climatizer side. They do have a decent spread, but no one is taking that southwest portion of climatizer, so I'm wondering if someone did drop on them. Blitzen was keeping an eye on that. Taking a look at their composition, though, they're picking up that Octane along with the Vantage. So a lot of changes coming in, but this is going to be one of those compositions that want to fight. You've got the scan coming out from Sung. You've got the movement coming out from, all 3 characters having some way to manipulate their movement. Born keeping an eye on one. So the 50-50 taking place, the first spray down as he gets the initial crack.
He wasn't even interested in taking any damage too, because you can see he's the furthest extended up on his team, and even though he is playing a movement-based character, he didn't want to take any damage because so early on you don't have a bunch of resources. So just laying that damage down, now that has to use 2 of the cells from the enemy team as we see the zone moving over towards the northern side. Looks like, Skyhook potentially. Countdown is definitely an option too. And if that's going to be the case, there really isn't that much area to go and lock down and Countdown. There's maybe like 5-6 spots that you could go and hold in there, if anything. So many times you see teams stuck on the bottom hand side. MJ is going to be able to get the first flush of the game as you do have 58 players in the game. Borton also getting a knock on that Vantage too. I just want to see it. If you're going to run Octane, just bust out the Revenant. Be the biggest griefer in the lobby. Just go for it. But it's exciting to see what Vantage is going to be able to do.
Yeah, Vantage has been a lot of fun to watch so far. Twerkaholics, one of the teams that are contesting 3, I believe, out of our 7 partnered squads on the 50-50 VIZIO. It looks like they might be winning out on theirs, and they will, picking up the +3, taking out the Anglebiters. That's our first squad down. For Twerkaholics, though, they lost out on their Horizon early on up against Team Mike and Ike, and you have to be wary about when you try to approach Thermal Station and go for these contests. Curiosity is able to push up at least and pick up this banner. They are still left in a man disadvantage as he's able to back away with that Q as we join on board with now Team Esports Arena as they're picking up the Mad Maggie. So a lot of movement coming out, utilizing that ultimate there, as they're just going to go ahead and back away. So it looks like a lot of our compositions, a lot of our teams are just looking for that early fighting that you were asking for, Tom.
Yeah, I like the compositions that have a combination of 2. And, you can play aggressive with Maggie, but then you have Watson for this end game. And, again, Horizon has been so popular. It's not as popular in scrims and tournaments right now as it is going to be in ranked, but almost every single comp that you're going to be seeing when you play high-level ranked or scrims is going to be still Valkyrie, Seer, and Horizon because it's just so good at a lot of different facets of the game. Now, the only thing that you don't have is some sort of presence like a Watson or a Newcastle, some sort of defensive legend. But if you're just taking your fights consistently and you're always working towards being a good team fighting team, nothing's stronger than that. You constantly are being able to see where people are. You can't hide in buildings because of the Horizon ult, but there are minor changes to the Horizon ult, like the nades that you toss blowing up your own ult, are pretty big. So everyone's kind of going, and speaking of Horizon, there we go. This is an interesting composition, though. You're going to be having Gibraltar come in instead of a Valkyrie. So let's see what happens for Team Intel. I really like the fact that we're seeing 3 different legends almost on every single team.
Yeah, it's been, I don't think we've had a mirrored composition quite yet across the teams that we've actually looked at so far. For Team Intel, they're going to take their time over here at Skyhook to hit up those replicators. We do know that this ring is pulling down towards that countdown area. They don't have the scan, unfortunately, for them, as they do end up getting challenged there. As I see on the low ground here, and it's McDonald's Wi-Fi that's actually trying to challenge them so far. Getting the initial crack. Coach going in with that one. He's a little bit low on the Havoc ammo, might have more in the back pocket with the flatline now, as McDonald's Wi-Fi want to try and challenge them, pushing forward. They got that Seer ultimate down, but Plugged Cube takes so much damage here. Got the first knock. It might be a third party, actually. Paps getting the knock onto Jet. So multiple teams here in the Skyhook Arena as McDonald's Wi-Fi continue to charge forward. And it's hard for them to tell whether or not the third party came in, because I don't know if they got shot from the side on that other squad. But Trev is pushing up like he's got no worries in the world whatsoever. Here's Noxious. This is the third party coming in. Dalton, McLovin, and Paps now trying to take advantage of that knock they got. They should be able to finish off Jet on that Team Intel side, as they've got that Seer ultimate down now.
Yeah, this is risky for Noxious, and it's going to be Paps finishing off that initial kill onto Jet. But again, with that additional Maggie movement from the enemy Wrecking Ball, they're going to be able to get that and then just kind of dip out. Now, what's the play here for Team Intel? Now, they could possibly wait for this and get the banner and go for the res. At the same time, you're really hoping that both of these teams that came in for the third party are fighting, and maybe you could get some KP, and then all of a sudden Jet starts off with better loot than he previously had. So turtling in the building, definitely the smart move. But they still have to deal with these teams that are still on the outskirts here. And remember, the zone is kind of pulling over towards Skyhook, so that makes it even more difficult without a Valkyrie to go and get your res.
Yeah, there might be a chance that they can skirt up towards the northern side, maybe make their way into the tunnel and go for that res all the way off on the eastern edge. They'll eat a little bit of zone, and we know that the zone damage changes are affecting how teams can actually hard rotate around that, but it is still an option for them. They'll have access to the high ground with that Horizon. For Tyson, though, they are setting up for the late game, playing underneath the Raven right now, where they are expecting this ring to pull down. Not quite into countdown, just to the north of it, as Excedrin looking for fights on the edges. They are still down here on the southwest side, just making their way out of Thermal Station now. Enemy's been cracked, but you can see Kimchi Lee wants to charge up. He's got that Q onto one player. Knows he's isolated just a little bit there on that Dorito building, as the peak comes out. They get some nice damage off, but Excedrin still trying to slow play this one for the time being, trying to get that initial big damage here, and at least forcing out that ultimate. And you can see instantly, no one wants to fight into that. They'll just go ahead and back away and allow this Team Cryptic to survive for the time being.
And also because you have teams like this, Nerf, just sitting in the wings, waiting to collapse. As you see RCO picking up some much needed kills. Valkyrie ultimate is going to be pop, skyward dive on out of there. But the Dorito building is, it could be, I would love to know a heat map of where the most fights take place on World's Edge are, because the Dorito building has to be up in the top 5. As soon as teams start fighting over there, everybody starts to show up. It's one of those popular rotation areas that come through, and Nerf was just waiting and praying that that fight ended up taking place. Unfortunately for them, now they have to back off and check their back to make sure they're not getting flanked and crept up on. And it's the beauty of running this composition. You can really just go and check around for fights, and then if you don't see what you like, you have the opportunity to just get on out of there, skyward dive, and find your next area that you're going to lock down.
Yeah, if there were a heat map, I mean, that'd be kind of closer to like the spicy nacho or like the Tapatio Doritos, right? For the Dorito building at that point. Joining on board with VIZIO. Remember, they got their first team fight win up in that Climatizer side. They're continuing to look for some fights on the edges. They're looking to gatekeep, actually, and Start of Fights might be the team that they run into. You can see Start of Fight are taking their time over at that fragment side, picking up Beacon Scan Imagine, along with some replicators. So VIZIO will take their time here, as we do have an interesting pull on this ring. So it will continue to actually pull away now, away from Countdown. There's a large portion of Skyhook, that southwest side of Skyhook in, and I believe we did have, what was it, Team Tyson set up underneath that Raven. Might actually have to move out of that spot, as we do join on board with Tyson setting up defensively. They're able to utilize that crypto scan effectively. They've got that lava fissure beacon that they can continue to pull upon.
So exciting to watch crypto and play too. Z Davis continuing to pull this one out, even though it's a very unorthodox pick that takes a lot of skill. Realistically, this is not an easy composition to go and run. You have to have faith in your teammates to go and watch your back as you can get into the drone. But the value, if you're able to get into spots just like they currently are, consistently picking up where the next zone's going to be, allows you to just rotate so much faster than everybody else. So, you know, it kind of is like, if you see a crypto, you almost want to sit next to them and mimic where they end up going and play a Valkyrie type squad, so you can just figure out where the scans are going to be. It's so valuable because it's so unpredictable when it comes to World's Edge. When we saw this particular zone, we don't know, hey, Skyhook, Countdown, there's a giant mountain in between the two, so if you pick wrong, you're done for.
As we join on board with Start a Fight, they end up using that skyward dive to get past the chokes. That scan proving valuable, and they do end up taking up a building inside of Skyhook. They avoid the fight with VIZIO. And remember, we had Team Intel taking a fight earlier on here, lost out on one. It doesn't seem like that they were able to get the res quite yet, as we are sitting at 53 players. We'll join on board with them shortly here to see exactly what their status is. For Start a Fight Esports, though, triple purple armors. They've got the long-range weapons, too, so setting themselves up for success should be easy. But that riot drill and charge rifles coming from multiple angles can actually keep them contained, so they won't have the same LOS from that rooftop if they want to try and challenge that.
Yeah, right now Matt Pickett's just trying to be a nuisance and get this Evo shield charged up to red, and then I'm sure he'll pass that on over to one of his teammates and say, hey, let me take this from here. Sleepy Panda, that doesn't make much sense. 360 damage, 2 kills, 1 assist. You'll take that any single time. There's teams like this. For example, Phony had 625 damage, 0 kills so far, so he's just been poking throughout. Start a fight with their early kills, and Sleepy Panda getting a majority of those. But you can tell they landed on over towards that Lava City Big Mod area. The loot over there is absolutely ridiculous. Probably one of the best POIs that you can go and get. And Pickett's going to elect to pick up that 30-30, which only cost him, I believe, 75. Pretty good steal for the crafting materials. I think one of my favorite changes towards this season is that once your teammates pick up crafting materials, that goes all the way into your bank as well.
Yeah, I love it. It makes it a lot more useful, especially when you get left in those kind of weird, you're the rat situation, and you need to hit up a replicator to maybe get some meds to try and res your teammates and continue on in that regard. And so I've been loving some of these iterative changes so far. For Esports Arena, though, it looks like we had a fight taking place. Not much of one. Start a fight, ending that one on the northern side in that Skyhook area as Esports Arena just looking to kind of trim the edges of Countdown now. Teams coming in from that south side. More fighting taking place for Start a Fight as well, as Nerf is getting into it, as I think everyone inside of that northern side over at Skyhook are just absolutely fragging out right now. Start a Fight, unfortunately, end up missing out on Matt Pickett here. Now they have to try and exit to try and get the res. So very unfortunate. Sleepy Panda dropped down low, but they are able to back away for the time being. We have hit 15 squads here. Someone sign us. We're actually trying to chase down Team Start a Fight.
This is a super talented team. A lot of people that have been grinding ranked on this squad, but also scrimming and now playing on our open days too. But this is a tough situation again because you don't know exactly where the zone's going to be. The way that all these fences are set up, and the original thought is Countdown. Until you hit that scan, you don't necessarily know exactly what's going on. The big question is for Matt Pickett is, can they get a mobile respawn beacon and get him back into the game? VIZIO, they're one of those teams on the outskirts looking in over towards Countdown. If you are going to approach that area, this is the spot to go and lock down. This should even be in towards the next zone. Round number 4, though, that's the round of truth basically here in Apex. That's where a lot of these squads are going to meet their fate as they have to rotate in, and you can see everybody just wanting to get inside of these buildings. This is what makes it so tough. Again, that's why Watson is so important. You saw ESA with so many different fences over there. Nobody's messing with them.
All right, so we get to check in with Team Intel. They were actually able to get Jet back into this game, so they are up as a full 3. Even up for long, Rambo taking a lot of damage before he backs away, but they will be able to at least sustain themselves off of that death box. Inside, Team Cricket has been knocked out. Razor taking a fight with Team Nerf right now, as looks like multiple squads kind of missing members. Redcoats making their way on in. This is one of those teams caught on the south side of Countdown now. They've got to be careful. This ring will go ahead and pull away, but it's another pull away from Skyhook, coming back down into that middle area almost. Between Skyhook and Countdown, you can see a lot of that command building office is going to be in. VIZIO ends up finding a knock here, and they're going to go ahead and full send it. Jump pad in to try and punish the knock. We'll see if they can get on top of them, and it looks like they might have actually been able to stick the res here. We do have the singularity coming down. Sung instantly clearing that knock onto Uriel, as he needs to take the time to hit up that bat. They do have a challenge up top, but the 2v1 should be enough to deal with that. The scan goes down as they secure this thirst on the ground in just a moment. Sung, with that extra movement speed from that Beast of the Hunt, is going to go ahead and finish off the Redcoats. We are now down to 11 squads.
Great job of baiting and switching there from VIZIO. And as soon as they recognize the knock, it's also the power of board on that Vantage. You get to see if that's a duo, a trio, what their armors are going to be in certain situations. Abe's with the big PK shots is going to go and drop Wiz. This guy is not missing, and now Mike and Ike is going to go out. They still haven't even gotten Matt Pickett up, but checking all these boxes, hoping that they can find maybe a mobile respawn beacon, put that in, and take another fight. I mean, they're starting fights, they're finishing them. Great job being able to execute that as just a duo.
And we do have, it looks like a mobile respawn beacon down. So the simple fact that they were able to pick up that banner is going to be huge. They should be able to get him back on in. And that is the only team currently missing out on a player. It has been plugged in. He's going to drop down. We'll see if any teams maybe want to try and push this one. They might not have had info that it was a duo, but with that coming in, they should be able to spot that. We do have a skyward dive coming in from that northern side of Skyhook, maybe looking to try and challenge that res that's coming out from Start a Fight. But as they try to land, Dalton ends up being the first person knocked. The riot drill is going to force them out of cover, as well as McLovin now will just completely back away, even completely out of the zone of his exhibit. Intel trying to take a fight as Paps ends up getting that knock onto Jet once again. This Team Intel now Oh no, the zone's closing in. The bubble is down. They have to move in with the zone. Rambo's taking a lot of damage. He doesn't have much left in him as our ICRVR will fall. Team Intel ends up getting knocked out as Start a Fight Esports have been able to stabilize and they get their third back on in.
Start a Fight has been so impressive this game. This zone is a ton of fun too because now it is going to pull on over towards the countdown side, but this open area too is amazing. And ESA picked the best spot possible. You can see now everybody has to go through them that's on the countdown side. If not, they're gonna have to make their way out on over towards the open. So that's why the interception pylon is so important. All of these fences are extremely crucial. I love the way that they placed that directly below the ramp in between the boxes too, so if anyone does try to get shots on this, they're gonna have to basically sacrifice their life, and Phonyhead's gonna take some serious shots with the charge rifle onto them, plus being able to pick up the Mastiff. He really couldn't ask for a better situation here for Team Esports Arena. But this is in the next 50 seconds where they're hoping they can pick up a majority of their KP because they've already set up for the long term and they're going to be able to pick up these placement points no matter what happened. This is definitely a top 5 situation for them, but they are hoping and praying someone makes a major mistake and they pick up a couple squad wipes.
Yeah, Maggie's going to be really nice, especially with that riot drill to cut down on all the angles that you have to deal with in that fight. Start a Fight, though, once again, another fight inside of Skyhook right now, one that they desperately need to win. They traded back 1 for 1 here as Sleepy Panda needs some time to hit up the bat, but he gets tagged up and he will fall. Plug Cube is able to find that one. Aves now left in a 1v2. He does have the exhibit up, but he can't do anything about the res coming out. They've got that Newcastle shield down. I'm surprised he wasn't the one going for that res, as McDonald's Wi-Fi will go ahead and knock out Start a Fight Esports. We are now down to our top 7, but McDonald's Wi-Fi needs to start moving. The zone's going to start closing in on them.
Tough break there for Start a Fight. They were looking so good, and then minor mistakes in terms of not being aware of where the third parties are going to potentially come from end up costing them their lives. But they did take one person from someone sign us with them. Unfortunately, they're not going to be able to pick up those kill points. This is a wild play that you're hoping will work out. It's not going to really look very good because a full 3-man just waiting in the corner. That's VIZIO. We know that they rotated from the opposite side of countdown, and they're gifted with some kill points. That is the best case scenario for a team like VIZIO.
And some kill points. Blitzen currently sitting on 5 KP himself. He's got 2 assists. Right now, though, Team Esports Arena holding down that high ground. We've already gotten 1 knock, 2 knocks. Actually, Longbone Malone going down. That's FKA getting finished off. But Phonyhead narrowly makes it behind this Newcastle cover just in time. He gets a quick armor swap off here as he tries to hit up that med. The scan comes down and McDonald's Wi-Fi try to push in. They get that free rotation because someone sign us ends up not contesting them for that walkthrough. So now they will be able to play off this height here. Looking to challenge as they throw in that Q. They note the HP advantage, trying to just spam the angles now as Plug Cube goes around the corner. That should be 2 knocks coming in for him. Now there's only 1 player left on that Esports Arena squad. Still having a little bit of difficulty to finishing them off, and because of that, they end up losing out on Plug Cube 1 more. It's Team Razor coming in for the third party. Blake Q, the hero for his squad, has that golden Guardian res for Box of Tea here to bring him back on up. McDonald's Wi-Fi will go down, and now we're finally down to our top 2 squads. It's going to be VIZIO versus Team Razor. VIZIO, they have the tools to just jump on top of Team Razor, but Team Razor, they're the ones that want to try and wait this one out as they've got that caustic in play.
Yeah, and you can see VIZIO kind of owns the land in terms of where they need to go and how far they need to go towards where this end circle is going to go and rotate towards the middle. So I'm loving both of these compositions. Again, we're seeing that anything can necessarily work. Right now it's going to be about having that Newcastle ultimate. Do they have the wall to go and put down and possibly, you know, stun the enemy players from VIZIO in more ways than one? VIZIO just needs to play around sunk scans, right? Every couple seconds, they're going to be able to have that one. Big nades coming out over towards the side. Now the time pushes, and the scans coming up directly when they need to be able to see through that gas. Plus the digi threat. No one was expecting them to be able to kill them that quickly. VIZIO taking game number 1. So many kills there, Jamerson. That's a big pop-off game.
Yeah, that is a statement to make, especially on VIZIO week. First game of the day, and they absolutely popped off. I mean, you got to estimate somewhere close to like 12, maybe even 15 kill points because they were able to farm a lot of the teams that were coming out from that countdown side. This was quite a difficult... No one good grasp of where this ring was actually going to pull, Tom.
And that's a classic ring, right? And, you know, to go right outside of that ramp over there is a fantastic spot. One of the best teams in terms of being able to pick their placement was Team Tyson. So they were showing kind of early where with that crypto, that is going to be the spot to go lock down. But you saw so many different facets of everybody's game, right? You saw a team like Esports Arena pick the God spot. Unfortunately for them, they weren't able to get the heals off. They would have been in a perfect position. Then you saw a team that had to kind of scratch and claw their way through everything. A team like VIZIO, that is a very far rotation from where they originally came from on the countdown side where those yellow tankers are, crossing all the way past, picking up kills on over towards the side, gathering information with Vantage, and then kind of exploding onto the scene with Octane when they needed to. And ever since they've started running this comp, I think about 3 weeks ago, they've had great success with it.
Yeah, all right, that means VIZIO takes the first game. We're going to go ahead and send it all over to Yeso to break down game number 1. When we get back, we'll have game number 2 right after this.
No better way to kick off the Apex Legends action here in VIZIO Week than with a VIZIO win. They take the victory here in our first game of the day, and we still have plenty to go, but they were looking dominant in this first one. As Jamerson mentioned, they had a ton of KP. You want to know how much in particular? 16 kills for the squad, a whopping 28 points here for VIZIO, bringing out some new compositions. Of course, teams starting to mix things up. Season 14 bringing a lot of great changes. People bringing out things like the Maggie, the Octane seeing a bit of a return, the Bloodhound as well. And of course, one pick we will definitely have to talk about is the Vantage. Personally, I hate it when I'm playing. I hate Vantages. I hate getting tagged by one and then immediately beamed by the rest of their team if I can't immediately get in cover because of the bonus damage. I'm not a fan of it. It's toxic, but it grants a lot of information, so we'll see how it continues to develop in the competitive meta. But let's take a look at our Mobile One high performance moment here for our first game of the day. And of course, it's the end game. VIZIO just laying down a blanket of nades here on top of this Razor squad, who are just trying to find some breathing room behind this little outcropping of rock, just trying to hold on, get some heals off so that they can maybe take an even fight here with VIZIO. But 2 frags, 1 arc star, and a thermite just from Sung alone does so much work here that even through the caustic smoke, no problem whatsoever. That Digi threat definitely helping out there on the Volt, and VIZIO easily able to pick up these last few kills, clean up the final squad, and put the finishing touches on a big 28-point performance to start the day. We'll have to see if they can keep things rolling as tonight continues. They'll definitely have a nice firm spot on the top of our Mobile One leaderboard here going into game 2, but we'll have to see, can those other squads bounce back? T-Squared mentioned Team Esports Arena looked like they were in a really good spot. Of course, had just a little bit of an unfortunate break, unable to get those heals off. We'll see what they and the rest of the lobby can do in our next game as we get ready to keep things rolling. Do want to give you a little bit of a special notice here. We are partnering with our friends over at Chalk Children's Hospital, folks. We are a big fan of theirs. We love supporting them, and we are encouraging you to donate, okay? If you look in chat, there's a command you can get in, !Chalk, I believe, and you can get a link to donate to help out kids in need. Do so. I will have more information for you here later on in the stream. We're going to go to a quick break right now. When we come back, plenty more Series E when we return.
I'll be loading up, they wanna package this. Pray for peace, pacifist, I'm never old enough to give a promise.
When the chicken is this crispy and this tasty, it doesn't matter what else is for dinner. Tyson crispy strips are so delicious, they'll be your favorite part of every meal. More crispy chicken, more family faves. more to love. Tyson.
All right, welcome back, guys, to Series E here at VIZIO week for this week's competition. And Team VIZIO ended up starting the day on open night with a pretty big win, able to find the kills on the edge, and of course, just dominating there in the late game. We saw that they had so many nades and so much utility to actually play off of just because of that dominant style, taking so many teamfight wins. They had so many death boxes to really go over there, Tom.
Yeah, and I think one player had 8 kills, which is phenomenal because you could play the entire Series E day today and only get 8 kills. So you basically have already gotten your quota just off of the first game, and just a huge pop-off moment in that final moment there, making that final fight look so easy. The way they're able to just place the nades behind, like you said, get all of the things that they needed to out of those death boxes, plus the aggressive playstyle and the comp that they're already running is perfect for that type of situation.
Yeah, so 28 points overall for Team VIZIO. That's the 16 kill points along with the plus 12 that they ended up picking up. For Team Razor, they only got the 9 and the plus 6 from kill points, but still keep them in the running for the top 2 at this point. We are about to head into game number 2 in just a moment. We'll see. There were a lot of 50-50s that ended up taking place. Mike and Ike facing off against the squad down there on the southwest side of the map in Thermal Station, but also in the northeast. Our very own Team VIZIO ended up getting in the fight on the Climatizer side. We'll see if those teams have learned a lesson or if they're going to go ahead and continue on as we head into game number 2 of the day.
When you watch the team win the game, do you 50-50 them again? Are you saying, hey, that could have been us? Or are you saying, man, these guys just rocked the entire lobby and I don't want anything to do with that? Personally, I think taking a 50-50 off rip is suicide. I wouldn't do it, but it is exciting to watch. VIZIO's checking their corners, making sure that they are not getting contested, and I believe I see a Wraith. If I'm not crazy, I could be crazy. I'm pretty sure that was a Wraith.
All right, so they had to change things up last time in game number 1. They ended up taking the north side of Climatizer, but it looks like the full squad decides to go for the challenge, and they are going to go ahead and spot out Sung early on, who is going to need help. But it does seem like they have some decent loot at the very least. It's going to be blues on either side as the Inkle Biters. This is a squad that challenged them earlier on in game number 1. The scan comes out from Day. To note that someone is running away. It should just be a regroup before they try and approach them again, because you have to imagine, as Team VIZIO, you do not want to get challenged here ever again. So you need to make a statement. You need to go 3 for 3 on the 50-50.
This is a huge zone for Razor as you take a look at where this one's going to pull kind of over towards the Harvester area. And you have the beacon on top of there too, so if a team like Tyson can get in there, they're just going to constantly be able to scan. But if Razor's still going to be rocking Caustic, this is perfect for what they want to do. Set up, lock things down. ESA is going to love what they see too, because Watson's going to excel in these situations. No one's going to really want to push past these fences, and the interception pile is going to stop everything that comes their way. But they still are rocking the same composition from Razor, so it's all about getting this loot and getting out of there. Blake, who's going to love what he sees. Inside there was a gold armor. I mean, let's be honest, Jamerson, every time we get that, it's turbocharger, maybe a skull piercer if we're lucky, a digi threat. Gold armor, you take that.
It's always a digi threat. It's just always a digi threat for me, unfortunately. Blakey was definitely happy with that one as well. I mean, I've loved the changes that they've made so far, moving Guardian Angel on over to the knockdown shield so that it actually makes sense. And then, of course, increasing the deep pockets in the golden backpack. It's been some nice changes overall, as Team Razor are looking to make their move on over. They do have the scans down, but it looks like Team Esports Arena are one of the first teams to rotate in. They might have a 3-2-1 on this squad, and they're trying to set up for the angle here, and that's not a 3-2-1. Fury decides just to take the shots earlier here, but they've got to be careful. There's another squad that's right there, so Fury does back away. A lot of presence from squads coming into Harvester early on.
It was definitely a 1-2-3, and Fury just went on one immediately. So I like the idea. I like the aggressiveness, pushing people off there too, just so you can go and get your spot. Now that they see that everybody has gray armors on this team, though, and remember, Vantage is going to be able to see your armor situation too, so that is the one thing that is very scary for ESA. Landslide loot always has been kind of bunned since it was Strain Station earlier on. Now Excedrin looking pretty solid in terms of what they have. I believe Kim Chile switched off of what he was playing previously, and now you can see why. The man just is an absolute monster. Now moving in on this Maggie, getting aggressive, destroying the enemy Seer ult, and they are interested in pushing this fight.
Oh, he's about to find one as well. He gets tagged up from behind, though, and so he might actually get flanked, stuck down on the low enemy, gets the knock onto Hamra, though. And so now Excedrin have the mad advantage. They just need to stabilize here on this early fight. Still worrying possibly about third parties that might come in, but they've gotten one more knock. That's Wade's getting instantly thirsted for the Excedrin side. So now they are completely on the hunt. Kimchi Lee not even taking the time to heal up whatsoever, as he will win out that final duel. Excedrin coming up with a +3, knocking out our first squad in the game.
Back on board with ESA, they've moved out of the inside, and now they're rocking the high ground over here, which is another risky spot to go and hold, especially with gray armor. So definitely keeping our eyes on them, trying to boost that up to bare minimum of blue, or just take a fight and let the other teams do the looting for them. This is Turns now moving in, and he's also avoiding the enemy Seer ultimate too that's going on. I believe that he's already tossed his, so this is not a situation realistically that you want to be in if you're nerfed. The longer this fight lasts, the more likely you are to get third party. This is possibly team start a fight. That's their landing spot, so we'll see who's on the other end of this, and it is.
Yeah, this is surprising nerf, though. Messiah is able to find that angle onto Aves, coming up from the flank, and now start a fight down to 2. They are not going to have the information either coming out from their Seer, so this is a very fight now. His team regrouping as full 3-man. They'll thirst onto Aves. Now the rest are fight. How do they end up getting out of here at this point? They're actually giving a window to try and back away from this one. Possibly down towards Lava City, double back around to Dome, may back up to Mod if they have enough heals to pick up this scan, but for it's kind of hanging around. They can. They've got the replicators here, multiple credits to pick up as well. Definitely really try and stick around on the southeast side.
Yeah, and if you are wondering what type of damage this zone is going to do, it's similar to Zone 2 damage from the previous patch. And if you want to know when you hit your medkit, it's exactly when your first little area of armor is going to be at. So basically where the J and Jet would be, that's when you want to go and pop your medkit, and you should be able to pull that one off just like Messiah would if you want the max value on that. And in terms of syringes, well, you'll have to figure that out on your own. I don't really know that one.
It's just panic. It's always panic when you're down to the syringes and you have to heal in the zone. But for Team Intel, they're trying to wrap around and make their way over towards that Harvester side. Mike and Ike, this 50-50 took a little bit longer than it did last time around, but they will be able to clean this one up. No problem whatsoever for them. Almost no worries there. Only one dropping down a little bit low. I imagine that's going to be Mar, having changed his name. But getting that early kill is going to be important for them. Now, this is a squad that does like to find those early fights. Another team that's looking for another early fight is going to be Excedrin. Nice lurk coming out from Kimchi Lee as he gets that knock onto Fury. That's going to be Esports Arena, who try to wrap around into Lava Siphon, and now they're getting punished for it. Oh, the ankle shots coming in from Kimchi Lee as 2 members of the Esports Arena squad have been knocked out.
Yeah, ESA just wasn't feeling comfortable in their situation, and rightfully so. Gray armor is just so tough. Really, the only one that could have charged that up is Phonyhead with that charge rifle. So you get into a great position, but bad RNG this time around. Again, you can't sit in a spot that everybody wants with a Vantage type of meta, with a Seer type of meta. Everyone's going to expose the armor situation. Maybe If they're lucky, Phony's going to be able to go and get those banners and they come back a little bit stronger, but that's just a tough break for ESA.
Yeah. We'll see if there's an opportunity maybe for him to swing back around. A lot of our squads right now currently damaged as Ring 1 has finished closing. We're down to 17 squads, 45 players. That's 6 players currently missing out of the lobby as Razor looking to gatekeep on the northern side here at staging, just getting some poke damage off. He's got plenty of light ammo for Blake on that G7 Scout. And unfortunately, he's the one actually sitting on the gold armor, so he's not going to make much headway with it. I'd like to see him swap if he can, but as we swap, Twerkaholics taking a fight up here in Fragment's side, as now they do end up cleaning up the ankle biters. That was the squad that was challenging VIZIO up in Climatizer, ultimately going down. This time it's going to be the Twerkaholics.
What a name. You know, Twerkaholics, best open name that we have of the night. And also, McDonald's Wi-Fi, they need to realize Walmart Wi-Fi is much more superior. So, you know, go to your local Walmart, and if you don't have internet, just use the ESA facilities.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to actually deal with Wi-Fi because we got Ethernet in our facilities, boys and girls. So just show up to that. For Team Intel, it looks like they are looking to try and maybe wrap a little bit further south, play off the replicator, pick up a little bit more for themselves here. As they have not been able to secure themselves a beacon scan, unfortunately. They don't really have the tools to try and defensively play and pick up that scan that is inside of Harvester. Very few teams now have that. I mean, that is typically a beacon that requires you to have a Gibraltar, as Twerkaholics ends up getting to another fight. It's going to be McLovin getting the knock onto one. Curiosity, unfortunately, messes up that Q and gets stuck on the wall. So Noxious will go ahead and pick up 2 kill points here. We'll see if they chase after the third in just a moment. McLovin getting the scan, and Paps will go ahead and challenge him in the 1v1. Never mind, it is not an honorable duel. Twerkaholics will get knocked out. We have hit our top 14, and surprise, surprise, Team VIZIO still here on the edge, looking to try and get involved in this fight, but they note that there were no trades. No one went down, so they're just going to wait this one out.
And that's why it's so important to not take the honorable duel, even though I respect that, Jamerson. You love to see the 1v1 potentially. If you get knocked, you know who's there? It's VIZIO. They're just waiting to put that bounce pad down, looking for the opportunity. But you sit there and say, okay, no knocks, not worth it, because you don't want to risk going in there. Plus, you're in an opportunity now that you can already gatekeep them. So why go and run the risk of getting knocked yourself, getting third and fourth partied, when you could just kind of sit here in the wings? And not as many Valkyries in the lobbies. I mean, this is the type of situation that you're going to be able to run into, but they are running the Valkyrie, and they do take some serious damage for that one. Is that enough damage to keep them out of the zone? It is. So really heads up play from VIZIO and great shots from Blitz.
Yeah, that squad should have plenty of medkits. They do have the replicators to play off of here, so they are giving them a wide berth to try and avoid VIZIO's gatekeeping on this northern side. For Team Noxious, never mind. They ended up going down. This is one of those moments where you have to instantly pop that syringe to stay alive, so Dalton needs to be prepared for it, and I believe he does get it off just in time. And luckily for him, he's also got that gold armor, so the syringes will go a little bit further for them, but you can see these ring changes are massive. It quickly eats into your meds. And so if you're trying to play that older style of just rotating through ring 2, it's almost become impossible unless you've got yourself a gold backpack and extra medkits. For Team Razor, though, it looks like the fight is coming towards them right now. You do have Blakeu setting up, throwing down all the walls, but the push has already come out. Box of T has gone down. Blakeu trying to turn around for the 2v1, but the backup is there, as it looks like McDonald's Wi-Fi are making the push now. It's down to a 1v1, I believe. Trev trying to get in. He has been cracked here, and you can see how much he has been slowed down by that, but he might just have enough in the tank. Might have to just go for the melee to go for the finish, but all the dead bodies are making it so difficult for him at this point, and the melee isn't enough. McDonald's Wi-Fi goes down. Razor survives somehow in this fight, but Team Intel are not going to allow them to go for the reset. We've got the singularity along with every single ultimate going down onto the 2 knocked players there. The Team Intel about to pick up the remnants of Team Razor.
Whoever this is a god. That was Sang Lion. What a movement god, running past all 3 members of Intel. You know what? I'll take that. The dude wins the 1v1 in the knockdown shield battle, escapes from Team Intel. They do lose the fight overall, but you know what? A round of applause for Sang Lion in that fight.
It was absolute chaos in there. Intel throwing in more at the end. The Mad Maggie ult, even, okay, every single ultimate was used in that fight for them. Luckily for Team Intel, a lot of the northwest side of the map is fairly clear. So they'll have the 2-3 minutes they need to get all those cooldowns down. Their largest point of contention is going to be Team Mike and Ike that are currently playing off of the respawn beacon there. Excuse me, the respawn beacon building there. You can see Wiz and MJ set up for a really nice crossfire, controlling a lot of the chokes coming out from that thermal station side. So they are doing a good job of just keeping tabs on their back just in case someone tries a wide swing from that thermal station area. For Team Nerf, though, they've been taking their time inside of Harvester. They've got the replicator to play off of now, but it looks like they do want to get aggressive as they now start throwing in their nades. Someone, Sinus, ends up going down. That was Team Tyson, another squad inside of Harvester to knock them out.
It's just wild to me that Tyson, you know, with this type of composition, gets into such a powerful spot. We were saying what would happen if they were able to get underneath and consistently hit the beacons. Well, that's exactly what they did. And there were other teams that could have potentially took that spot. They just didn't. And that's a perfect situation for Tyson again. Back-to-back games of them taking almost a game-winning spot. Now, will the zone end outside of their door? That remains to be seen. We'll see what happens when they hit the next scan here onto zone number 5. But you can see the crypto drones already in the air. They've cleared out their back. They're feeling extremely confident. And they're able to go and hit that scan to find out where zone number 5 is going to be. And they can be the first team to create their plan going forward. So this is huge, huge intel for Team Tyson. Speaking of intel on board with them, looks like they are going to be making a sneaky rotation over towards the outskirts of the map, trying to play on over towards the edge of a safe haven of this building. But this is a little bit of a risky spot to be if you do have teams coming out of the tunnels. So this is the number 1 spot Rambo needs to check, and that's going to be clear. Puts down pings of the second spot they need to check, which is that high ground, if anyone can grief them over towards there, because that's where they have to rotate towards. So great order of operations there from Team Intel, basically checking every little thing that they needed to make sure that they're safe.
Yeah, and it looks like Team Mike and Ike ended up giving up a lot of that ground, decided to fall back into that choke to play off the one angle instead. We still have 10 squads alive as that next ring closes. We got 40 seconds left. The next zone to start closing on in. Excedrin has a fight coming their way. Enemy is the first one to go down. Paps picks that one up, and Excedrin are just completely disoriented here as they were so spread apart. Kimchi Lee on the low ground by himself. Cruisin now healing up. Another squad has shown up, though, for the third party, and it looks like everyone is just focusing on Excedrin right now. Listen to, as the shield is used, Kimchi Lee goes down. Lackey is able to just push up for free, and this is a different kind of bubble challenge as Excedrin does get knocked out. We'll see. Noxious, they do throw down that Syracuse, connects with 2 of them, and they're getting some free information. You do have that Newcastle ultimate to back away towards the fence line, but they still need time to try and heal up. Watson fences are set up inside, so they might have an interception pylon to try and natty gen this, but they don't have the time. Dalton is on the flank on the right-hand side. You got 2 in the air. Paps dropping right on top of them. They're getting tagged from the other way from Harvester this entire time. And unfortunately, it's Team VIZIO now coming in for the third party.
This is what VIZIO has been waiting for. They don't have nearly as many kills as they did in the previous game, but they are just looking to third party and having their opportunities of owning real estate, and that's exactly what they did. We saw earlier they wanted to take one over towards Fragment. Now they've rotated over towards the very southern side of Harvester. Meanwhile, Nerf is being taken out over towards the side. That was a tough break for Noxious. That was a very clean fight. I love the volt shots that were coming through, but there's nothing that you could do when a team like VIZIO is waiting to pounce on that third party. Now the zone is going to pull out, and you know he's going to love this. Tyson's in another great position here.
Wow. Yeah, they are inside of the next zone, the final zone. Now, unfortunately for them, though, because of the way this one closes, they will be one of the first teams forced out of cover. So it's going to come down to Oxy Aries and Joey Blackout. They've got the defensive tools, so creeping up those fence lines to get further and further in, being able to move forward with that mobile shield coming out from Joey Blackout. So we join back on board with Team Intel now, taking their fight up against Mike and Ike. We do have that Maggie ultimate going down, but the angles just seem a little bit too strong for Mike and Ike, who still are playing off that choke. They need to get through them, and so there is a level of desperation that Team Mike and Ike will be fighting with. Throughout all of this, though, Team Intel are actually allowed the opportunity to go for the reset. There was a golden Guardian Guardian Angel res onto Jet, so he gets a quick top off there, only hitting that one syringe. Throughout all of this, though, Team Tyson ends up clearing out a little bit more of their side. One more squad going down. We are now down to the 5 squads, 13 players left.
And this should slow down a little bit as there's a little bit of poking going on back and forth. The zone's going to be collapsing here in 10 seconds. But, no one was expecting Team Nerf to be on the opposite side of this rock. Sung didn't hit a scan over there, but it looks like they are going to be able to eliminate Nerf. And now we're down to our full squads. This should slow down just a little bit. And while that's happening, I want to talk about the teams and the compositions that we have. But the rotations are coming through on the opposite side. That's going to be Team Intel laying down the shots with the 2X Havoc turbocharged up, and back shot provider. That's going to be Mar with the knock onto Rambo. And I believe that's Team Mike and Ike getting aggressive now onto Intel.
Yeah, Mike and Ike need to fight for this because the zone is closing in on them right now. Team Intel down to just Jet, who secures at least one cell before he falls. Team Tyson are able to actually get up onto the rooftop for free, and the fights are taking place.
Shots.
There might be trades. Wiz goes down, but it looks like VIZIO actually all up, full and healthy. And Z Davis, does he have the EMP to slow things down to try and make this push on to Team VIZIO, who are looking to finish off Team Mike and Ike right now? It looks like they're just down to one player remaining, as Backshot Provider hasn't even been able to heal yet. Here comes Blitzen to finish him off. They got the crack, another big shot. Mike and Ike are out. We are now down to our final 3v3. VIZIO versus Team Tyson, as Borton will get free access to the high ground here, but he gets tagged up and he's instantly regretting his decision.
And these are the two teams that I wanted to highlight in their composition, because both of these compositions, as the push is going to come through, the EMP looks like it's going to be popped here any single time, but first they want to have the interception pylon go down. Both of these team compositions are team compositions that you can really work on, and you already have your playstyle developed, right? Tyson, their playstyle is 1,000% get inside the zone, hit these scans, and I feel like they can learn and just get better and better game after game. While a lot of teams are kind of like figuring out what they want to play, Tyson knows what they want to play. They know what kind of style they want to play, and VIZIO as well. So it's not that surprising as a big 140 comes in from Blitz that these are the two teams in the final circle.
And VIZIO instantly push off of that body shot. Now they are on top of them. They don't even need the throwables as Blitz connects onto Oxy Aries one more time just to finish off the job. Team VIZIO are going to take 2 in a row here in VIZIO Week.
Not only taking 2, but doing it in dominant fashion in these final team fights. That is by far the most impressive part. Back-to-back wins, not easy, but just completely slapping the enemy team in both of those fights. You don't expect that. And again, the Kraber was a huge reason why that happened. I mean, the 140 to the body right there. But again, the lack of EMP coming through, the lack of popping the ultimate Excel there from Oxy at the right time, ended up costing, you know, what a potential great game from Team Tyson was going to be. As long as they popped that a little bit earlier, set up that fight a little bit earlier, that second of hesitation ended up costing them. And VIZIO, they haven't hesitated once the entire night. Great job from them locking down extra points in an already impressive performance that they had in game number 1.
Yeah, visuals on these fights have been very easy. Just when the ghosting is basically in Edrin, had a nice little run on the southwest side of the map. Unfortunately, too much happening there. They hung around and are able to fight out of Thermal Station. Ends up getting an early 50-50 win. Team Excedrin, I believe this is what when Esports Arena ended up going down, or at least 2 members of Esports Arena. So you can see Excedrin were trying to play a hard edge basically here on the south side, and they were doing a great job of it until they ended up getting sandwiched in by 2 different teams. For Twerkaholics, they were playing on the northeast side of the map, but you can see that there was a lot of presence of squads actually inside of Fragment pretty late on.
What I love about what VIZIO is doing is, I don't even think that their legends and their composition is that strong, but it's working for them. And I think it's the style that they play. It's also comfort picks for these guys. And that's what Apex Legends is really all about now. We have 22 legends, and you should be able to play whatever you want. And they're making it happen right there in terms of the way that they were able to approach the situation with back-to-back wins.
All right, that's VIZIO taking 2 in a row. We'll see if they'll be able to get a clean sweep on World's Edge. Let's go ahead and send it on over to Yesa to break down game number 2 for us.
VIZIO showing up with another banger, winning back-to-back games here to kick off the Apex Legends action here in VIZIO Week. They have been very impressive so far, and especially when you look at how clean they have played the final fights both times so far tonight. T-Squared pointing that out as well. Good observation from him. VIZIO picking up 8 kills this time. Not as big of a performance as last time around, half the kills, but it doesn't matter because VIZIO continue to put dubs on the board. They've got 24 points just from placement alone so far today, and that has them in a wonderful position going into our final game on World's Edge. Let's take a look at our Mobile One high performance moment here for game number 2, and it's going to be another VIZIO endgame. And it just starts with Blitz here. Clean with the Kraber, misses that shot, but it already hit the 140 to the body and looks for one more here. Is able to get the knock there onto Oxy, and then it's pretty easy cleanup here for the VIZIO squad. Once that one player is down, be able to grab the next 2 in quick succession. And this is just so well played. It looked like with the setup that Tyson was going to be able to set down there, that VIZIO might have some difficulties, but this Kraber in the pocket of Blitz and Tyson not expecting to get caught by those shots gets them in trouble, and it's a big reason why VIZIO grab a nice win here. 2 wins so far in 2 games on World's Edge. They'll look to make it 3 in a row in our next one. At the very least, they have been dominant so far tonight. They will easily hold on to that top spot on the Mobile One leaderboard. The question will be, there's still a lot of Apex to play tonight, but can anybody catch up to these guys the way that they are playing right now? They have re-secured first place on the overall standings, and they're looking to keep the rest of the partnered squads at bay for as long as possible. They keep playing like that, they will certainly do so. We're going to a break right now. When we come back, though, T-Squared and Jamerson will get you ready for our final game on World's Edge.
Welcome back to Series E. Just before the break, we had Team VIZIO taking their second win of the day in just as many games as well. So they are currently 2 for 2 so far. Opening up VIZIO week incredibly strong now with a 28-point lead here as we take a look at the Mobile One High Performance Leaderboard. Team Tyson, though, come in second place, and Razor now find themselves in third with Mike and Ike trailing behind by 3 points.
Interestingly enough, I believe this is the exact amount of points that Tyson had last week. So the fact that 48 is right on par with what we've been seeing is absolutely insane, and just goes to show how good these teams have been playing. VIZIO and Tyson have been consistently rocking this composition that is paying huge dividends, and this is something that we were highlighting before towards the tail end of that game is, while everybody else is going through these testing phases, Tyson and VIZIO have this play style that they want, right? It's going to be an edge play style coming in from VIZIO. Not easy to do, especially when you're not playing a defensive character like you would expect Gibraltar to go in and fit perfectly in right there. And then you have Tyson, which I just love Tyson's composition. I think that it's perfect. You're sacrificing a little bit without having a Valkyrie, but you're gaining so much. All 3 legends that they have a fantastic kit for setting up on over towards the end game. And when you think of a team that sets up like this, you think maybe they're scared, maybe they can't go and take fights. That's not the case. I think that they made, a couple minor mistakes in their end fight, again, with, not being able to have a spot to go and pop your EMP was really difficult for Z Davis in that fight. You could see how far away he was from his team when he was in the drone, and then also the lack of popping the Ultic cell before they took the fight ended up just, letting VIZIO create a plan to go and take them out. And VIZIO, they're winning their 50-50 over here towards Climatizer. They've looked so strong in terms of being able to just pounce on teams. That's the last thing that you want to go and do is hesitate in a fight like that, and that just small second of hesitation and that small opening created a massive advantage for VIZIO.
Yeah, it does seem like this time around VIZIO might not be challenged by the ankle biters. No one's actually keeping an eye on the northern side. Well, that's why it's a bit further spread. You can see ankle biters are hard north side of Climatizer here. And speaking of it, Ring is pulling up towards the northeast. Esports Arena ends up dropping onto Intel and taking out one for themselves. And that's going to be the early fighting. Unfortunately, that's going to be Rambo going down. And I don't know if they're going to have an opportunity to try and go in, pick up that banner, because he is deep inside of that building so far. And they don't quite have the movement to get in and get out.
Not only that, but once you don't get into the middle, we all know what happens. The enemy team is going to have a lot of armor advantages. This is a borderline, do we play as a duo or do we just full send it and take this fight? I think it's a definite duo situation. Just look how healthy Esports Arena is. Plus, the team that you're facing against. These are definitely not pushovers. So, smart decision to go and back off. But at the same time, ESA is interested in, not only taking over this area, but possibly hunting these players down.
Yeah, I mean, the first 2 games haven't gone quite the way for Esports Arena, so there is an opportunity if they want to try and take some early fights, even though, they do have Wig on that Watson. They still have Wig, right? So they can try and get it maybe aggressive over into the Skyhook side. We know that 2 teams usually end up there, maybe 3 sometimes, with especially how the last 2 games have been taking place. A lot of fighting in Skyhook. So there's an opportunity. If they want a big game number 3, they can do that here. For the ankle biters, though, they're moving their way into Epicenter now. They found one fight. They found the first knock onto Longbone Malone. They will go ahead and try and push forward. This is an opportunity, though, if FKA can maybe try and get a trade for Team VIZIO to come in for the third party. So both sides have to be aware of this as they get the first knock onto Day. It's now down to just 1 player remaining. Never mind, FKA. They are taken out here with that flank. Day will get res. Mercy coming in now with that purple armor for himself. You can see he's keeping an eye on that sightline on that hill to make sure that they're not getting pushed, as McDonald's Wi-Fi are looking for their fight, a fight of their own here on the Skyhook side.
You also have 2 more fights that were taking place throughout all of that. You can see Start a Fight wins their fight on the southern side over towards Lava City, and big mod. Now there's another fight happening towards the center of the map here in Lava Siphon. Messiah going down first. This is a tough break, but it looks like the rest of the players are going to start to push up over here. And Forsey is not interested in getting the res until he can eliminate that other player. Now this is huge. One player is going to go and hit the res. Meanwhile, Forsey is just going to go and check and make sure that they're not pushing. Really smart play. If they want to get the armor swap for Messiah, they could. So Messiah most likely is going to go with health meds first, and then they're going to make their way over towards this box. Great execution from Nerf.
Yeah. Team Nerf, again, no strangers to being contested whatsoever. It looks like Redcoats are just having difficulty trying to find a good landing spot. I believe they have been contesting here inside of Lava Siphon, but just avoiding the 50-50. But this time around, the fight has come their way. Esports Arena doing what we were kind of expecting them to do, actually getting aggressive on the Skyhook side. They've already gotten one knock and Thirst onto Trev Stacks. There is a team inside, unfortunately. That exhibit is keeping them a bit slowed down, and I think they realize that multiple teams are currently in the area. Team Tyson being one of them, and Z Davis tries to go for the challenge, but Phonyhead will go ahead and take him out. Now, Esports Arena, how aggressive do they want to maintain this kind of momentum right now? They've gotten a knock onto one team and another, so they know they've got the advantages against two of the squads in this area.
I love the play from ESA as Redcoats are going to get eliminated by Team Nerf. That's great for Team Nerf. They really needed some sort of extra boost going on. That was my pick for today, but I don't know. I may pull a Yeso and take the obvious jump ship on over towards VIZIO as Excedrin now starting to push in, and they also have a little bit of a scan of their own if they want to go and hit that one. And unfortunately for Nerf, after they took that 50-50, they did not recover fast enough as the third party came in from Excedrin.
Yeah, I wonder exactly what happened, because they should have been able to stabilize unless they were struggling in the meds department there. But that's going to be Team Nerf going down. 16 squads remaining, and it looks like one squad might have been able to get a recovery and a res up in that Skyhook 3-team affair. Noxious, make that 4 teams now in the area. So Skyhook has become an absolute battleground. I mean, it's looking more like Titanfall 2 at this point.
You know, the value of legends like Loba, like Watson, skyrocket in certain instances like this. And even with, you know, Valkyrie, for example, even though there was minor nerfs going on over to Valkyrie, since the zone changes come through, it forces you to rotate faster. And when you go and you take these 50-50s, that means that more teams are going to be coming at you even faster than before. But a great way to counter that would be with the legends that you need to go and rotate, right? So Valkyrie with the Skyward Dive, the value goes up there. Watson with the Interception Pylon goes up because you don't have as much time to get the cells that you absolutely need. So it's going to be interesting to see, you know, what happens, and that's why it's so wild to me that a team like VIZIO that's running such an unorthodox composition is having such great success. So just, again, it goes to show you, if you're comfortable on certain legends, if you've mastered certain legends, go with those. Don't let anybody tell you what you should be playing.
Right now for Esports Arena, they are playing hard edge despite not really having a hard edge composition. This is one of those more malleable ways to play as well, or compositions that can play multiple ways. Right now, Phonyhead getting another knock. That's Mikocha going down. I believe they might just be down to one player remaining here, but Esports Arena are just taking multiple duels across Skyhook here, and this has just become absolute modern warfare, as currently it's been mostly Esports Arena in this side of the map that have been coming up with the kills. I don't know if any of the squads that have actually shown up for these fights have gone any of the knocks for themselves. For Esports Arena, though, they are getting slowed down just a bit. You can see Noxious playing off the train tracks right now. Paps getting a nice little crack with that charge rifle, but from these distances, they really don't have the tools to try and follow up on it. But they are all sitting on blues, so taking the time, investing the time to utilize that charge rifle from this angle to get some free shields will be nice for them, but it looks like they want to just go ahead and call it and start moving other ways. McLovin will go ahead and check that back with that Syracuse, as Esports Arena are just clearing out building after building. I think enough is enough for them. They're going to start rotating their way to the south.
Paps with the type of movement right there that you'd expect from a charge rifle griefer. No, I'm just kidding, Paps. You know, getting your Evo shield charged up is so important, but I've been excited to see less charge rifles in certain situations because of the popularity of the Scout and the 30-30 now. But when we're talking about situations where you want to pick up and charge your Evo shield up, you want to get long range kills and force people out, there's still no better weapon than the charge rifle. As someone Sinus has a huge advantage in this fight. Let's see what Key's electing to do. However, the third party coming in from behind Looks like they didn't account for maybe Team VIZIO coming in from the side as well. I'm not quite sure who else is it over here. Elevator Music is one of the teams. And then IA is in the vicinity as well. So 3 to 4 teams over here in the back of Climatizer.
Life came at them extremely fast there. They thought they had the free angle, and honestly, that team was playing relatively, I would say, poorly with how they were cornered up and trying to heal. It should have been free kills for them, but you can see how in an instant things can be turned around. Incentive Rise are able to just bully out the squads in this area, and we'll have a large majority of this one free. There is someone on the second floor, though, as Lufka learns the hard way there. On the kill feed, we do have Phonyhead finishing off one more member. Trev Stacks going down as someone, Sinus, are trying to find a moment to get the mobile respawn beacon down to get their third player back on in. We do have it actually being tagged, and we should be able to. You can see that a lot of teams are in the area right now. They are all posturing to possibly try and punish this res.
Yeah, and now that Lox is going to be able to do this, the question is, do you wait for the respawn or you just hit it immediately? He's doing it through the doors. Interesting strategy. You love to see it. Now he's going to get a little bit of help from Leda, so he's going to go and check on this one. But it's all about opening that door up. Fortunately for them, that door has not been griefed yet. I don't think anyone's interested in using their nades for that one particularly. I don't think anyone's in the vicinity using Valkyrie either. So this should be a safe res. Question is, can he get his loot back? You don't want to just sit there and being used for your abilities as Team Mike and Ike sitting on the outskirts of the Seer ultimate waiting for this one to go away before they decide that they want to go and push in, and they have the composition to go and do so. You can already see Mad Maggie's going to be pushing up, and that's going to be MJ. They've now forced this team back against the wall over here, so if they could find out which player is basically on their own as one person's going to try to flank, they're going to be in a great spot, and I think that's exactly what they're thinking for right now as they focus on the right-hand side.
Ooh, nice riot drill, and again, the exhibit is proving so useful coming out from Wiz, and this is one that's not going to be cleared. We do have that singularity coming in along with that speed boost as they are charging right on forward. Missing a lot of these shots, though, finally, with the EVA 8 now getting that crack and the knock onto Paps. Dalton will be the next one to fall as Fearing Life picks that one up, and Noxious just wiped off the map here. Now we're down to 15 squads. Fearing Life will have to instantly hit that med kit to keep himself alive, but that's a huge come up for Mike and Ike now. As you can see, a lot of squads just beforehand. We're trying to wrap their way to the northern side for this zone. I think a lot of teams are expecting this one to basically go to the train tracks and to that big antenna on the northern side of Climatizer, and so more of our seasoned squads are really trying to play for that right now. For Esports Arena, though, they have just been patrolling around the edges. They've been able to pick up a kill here, a kill there, slowly racking up the kill points for themselves.
Yeah, and I think this is smart from ESA because they're taking the open day, a little too seriously in terms of respecting the lobby. When you have players like this, you should be taking fights and kind of testing the waters to see what you can get away with. And they'd be pleasantly surprised. Once they go and take these, they are going to be able to do really, really great things, but their Phony takes a ton of damage. He's going to go and have to back off, and this is what you're not hoping for. You're trying to pick on these open teams. You don't want to really go partner team to partner team, especially with a squad like Razor now who's looking to advance. Sang's going to be able to get a lot of information with the Vantage, maybe get on over towards the high ground here with the Q, checking to make sure no one's up there, and looks like he's going to get back on over towards his team. Respectable decision. Maybe we're a little bit worried from the third party. Is Razor and ESA just going to kind of posture back and forth now as another fight's taking place? That's going to be Excedrin going up against Start a Fight, and Pickett's going to get dropped first.
A lot of damage has gone across onto the Excedrin side, though, and so they'll need extended time to try and go for that reset. So there might be an opportunity for Start a Fight to get the res. They're actually just going to go ahead and full commit onto this one. The PK shot's connecting for Aves, and he gets one more.
Holy cow.
Aves, the one-man army, will go ahead and decimate Excedrin here. Start a Fight. We're really able to fight back as that two-man. You can see why it's so important sometimes to just stand your ground in these situations.
If I'm Matt Pickett, I'm asking for Aves, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, what his Twitch stream is, 5 gifted on over to Aves for that one. Holy cow. Way to carry a fight right there. Virtually Wrecking Ball right there, and Wrecking Ball is going to be answered there with MJ. And the even 8 in Maggie's hands, you get the movement boost. You get the movement boost twice, and now you're going to be able to just decimate the enemy team over here as Cryptic is going to be sitting in that death screen. Mike and Ike looking good. After a little bit of a slow start, they're starting to pick up some team fights on the edge, which is exactly what they're looking for with this comp.
Yeah, Cryptic learned that if you're going to try and play the slow side of the zone that a lot of the stronger teams really want to try and prioritize, you have to be able to fight for that. But they honestly put up almost no defense there whatsoever. You saw that the Mad Maggie kind of went in there and lay waste to that entire squad by herself. For Team VIZIO, they are over here at Survey Camp, just waiting for the ring to close up. They haven't been able to pick up the scan, unfortunately for them. For Team Razor, though, they are playing on top of Epicenter, but it doesn't seem like we got the beacon scan there anyhow. Team Intel losing out on Jet once more is now saying is trying to find a little bit more. If he does fall, it's going to be okay. He will have his Q to get back on up, and that's the nice thing about Razor's composition.
Whoa.
All three of them have some sort of mobility, but Blake Yu is now sent down to the ground. The angle just not quite there for him to be able to get the res quite yet. We'll see how much Esports Arena want to try and focus them, but the simple presence of another team at that bottom is kind of keeping them in place right now.
Yeah, smart just to kind of take that one kill and work with that one. But Mike Connect finds another team inside of the trailers over here. Let's see if they get the same fate as before. They are getting third partied in the back, so this is a little bit of a different situation going forward. And that third party proving to be such a nuisance. Actually make that a fourth party because the longbows are coming in from Team Tyson. There goes the black hole, just taking everybody in its way. McDonald's Wi-Fi now just basically down to one player as Plug Cube has to do this with almost no health meds right there. Smart armor swap going forward. Will he be able to end this fight? He does. That was such a big armor swap right there. You also got to be careful of that longbow. And there go the shots from the side. Tyson, they've seen this zone before. They won this very similar to last week where they took Complexity out of the spot. Now they get there first.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I was talking about. So many teams are expecting this hard pull to the north side. That's why we're seeing so many rotations, so many fights taking place on the train tracks there, and you have to be ready for that defense. And this is definitely one of those areas where you need the experience and how to fight this, how to defend this. And so you're learning as you go. That is what Open Night is for. Team Tyson, though, they've already learned the lesson. They're the ones that are actually teaching the lesson here, as now Esports Arena are taking their shot at trying to take over this spot. Do push up as the retreat is coming out from that Team Tyson brand. You have the Newcastle wall going down as well. Phonyhead just setting up a little bit more cover, which is something that you desperately need when it comes to fighting over these train tracks.
Yeah, and Esports Arena is kind of playing that safe in terms of being like, okay, does this team want to take over this train cart? They don't recognize that it's Tyson that has came all the way from the area where they were previously set up just to go and get loot. So they did bully the team out of there, but they also were able to kind of share the loot together, which is nice. I feel like, you know, both those teams are playing so well right now that you might as well give them an opportunity with the meds that they absolutely need. And again, the value of crypto, the Newcastle, everything that you would want in a composition. I love what Tyson has in store, but it's the same story here. They're inside the middle of the zone. VIZIO's on the outskirts. Both of these teams in first and second place right now, looking so strong in their respected playstyles.
Yeah, Team VIZIO trying to creep up from that western side. They really don't want to get involved in that eastern scramble. It becomes so difficult to try and push on that tower. You can see they do have pings down on movement, but most of the teams that are left in this lobby right now are on that southeast side of the map. It looks like VIZIO, they just can't quite contend with that position being held on the northern side, and so they are going to go ahead and back away and try to basically try their chances here on this rotate across a lot of open ground. They do have the mobility, though. They should have a jump pad to utilize. Borden has his Q as well. Right now, they're looking to play a little bit more opportunistic. They just do note that there are teams inside of the building now with 30 seconds left to go. Bourne just looking for one knock. That would be huge in being able to make it a little bit easier to make this rotate.
Yeah, it's a great point. They need to find some sort of opening and find some sort of weakness in the enemy teams. Ping's going on over towards the roof, but you can see the roof is not going to be in. So the only thing they can do is similar to what, you know, Borton's using right now, I don't know what you would call as a giant antenna, but the antennas are realistically the only safe haven for them. And if you end up getting hit with any type of abilities, you're going to be absolutely done for. So it's not an ideal situation for VIZIO, but we've seen them make something out of nothing. They're going to rotate a little bit early. It's always that question of, do we get there and rotate with the zone, or do we take our spot originally and hold teams out? Looks like they're going to try to hold teams out from the side.
And this is huge. They note that that's a two-man right there, so Blizzard doesn't need to get aggressive, but oh no, Intel ends up coming up from behind them, getting the knock onto Borton. They don't really have the defensive abilities to try and get him back up either. Backing away into a corner right now. Esports Arena full sending it on to Team VIZIO, about to knock them out in just a moment. VIZIO, our back-to-back winners from game number 1 and 2, are now knocked out. Esports Arena looking to have a performance just like Team VIZIO here. It's going to be Phonyhead, who is currently the lobby leader in kills with 6 for himself, and so they are trying to match them toe for toe, for kill, like Team VIZIO has had in the last 2 games. Esports Arena, what a call to make, to just push down like this.
Such a smart, just veteran call right there. The experience really showing that they can eliminate the team in first place. Not only that, pick up their loot, take their spot, and most importantly, not have to worry about a rotation going forward. They already have that whole side now locked down to themselves. But Phony just going for the Mobile 1 high performance moment right there. He's like, you know what, let's just put on an entire montage of Apex skill on this Newcastle. The wall going down immediately, the PK shots hitting, everything that you would expect from one of our best players here in the lobby, really showcasing his skills. But now it's time to hit your shots if you're Fury. Kraber Wingman, a very unforgiving combo, and oh no, the person standing still, the hardest shot typically.
Now, round 6 is closing up. Tyson set up in their tower right now. It's a 3v2 IA versus ESA and Team Tyson. The Esports Arena know that the biggest threat is going to be Team Tyson over there, setting up now early on with that wall just to have a little bit of cover here, because there really isn't much for them to play off of. You can see both squads, both Tyson and Esports Arena, are trying to focus down IA currently, as they will eventually be forced out of cover. And there it is. It's going to be Lufka going down. Phonyhead picking that one up, another notch under his belt.
Really nice shot right there, really saving themselves the worry of having to use extra ammo and focus fire so they can focus heads up on this 3v3. And Tyson, they lost the last one going up against VIZIO. They already have the armor disadvantage, but it looks like they are winning this fight so far. It's up to Nicewig, and Tyson learns their mistakes. They need to take the fight faster, and they were able to do so, leaving no question in that one. And we know how strong ESA was. We saw how good they were shooting, a testament to Tyson's skill as well. Add that to the second place total that they had, and now they're contesting for first place.
Yeah, but T-Squared, you brought it up earlier on. Having that wingman and that Kraber for the late game is typically not what you want when it comes down to the final 3v3s, and it did make a huge difference there. Having one player essentially out of the fight because he doesn't have that close quarters could have been the huge difference maker. If he had another secondary in the back pocket, it could have been Esports Arena taking that win. Now let's take a look at the highlights from game number 3. Unfortunately, Team VIZIO were not able to get the clean sweep here, but they did end up with another top finish with some kills under their belt.
I don't believe an EMP popped off either. So instead of, focusing, and that's what's so crazy about this composition that Tyson's running, and it makes Crypto, again, a very difficult legend to go and utilize in certain instances like that, because you're thinking, all right, do I go and try to give myself an advantage? Do I gather information? Sometimes the best thing to do is say, hey, let's throw all abilities out of the window and let's just face this thing head on and hit our shots. And that's exactly what they did right there. And I love that you reiterated the fact of what happens with that wingman Kraber. It's very unforgiving, but nothing takes longer to reload than the Kraber, right? That thing is, so unforgiving. So the fact that you fly in there and try to use that as a shotgun, you miss one shot and you're basically putting yourself in a 2v3 just like you were alluding to. But the shots were amazing. Abe showcased what he was able to do. Phonyhead really had his pop-off moment. MJ flying through right here and, going back-to-back in terms of almost taking these teams down without getting third-partied over towards the side. You definitely felt like they were going to be able to do so. So after the first 2 games, everyone's definitely warming up over here. The shots have been phenomenal.
Yeah, it's been great to see, and so many different individual moments coming out from so many players so far. Now, one of the surprising things I want to say so far tonight is that, one of our open teams that we typically see having great performances has been Team Start a Fight, who hasn't been able to quite string together something quite yet, but we do have 3 games left to go. We're going to go ahead and send it on over to Yeso to break down game number 3 as we swap on over for Storm Point.
Great point there by Jamerson. We are very used to seeing Start a Fight starting open nights very strong. While they aren't necessarily getting wins all the time, they have been a mainstay in top 3s and top 5s on World's Edge over the last few weeks on open night. Not able to get that going here so far tonight, but they do have those games on Storm Point to see if they can reset and get things rolling. This time around, though, it was Team Esports Arena. They came in to clean up Team VIZIO to prevent the three-peat, and they were hoping for the win, but Tyson take them down in the final 3v3 fight. Tyson picks up 8 kills for their effort here as well, so a nice 8 points to add on top of the 12 for placement in getting the win, and they are able to get some redemption after their loss to VIZIO in the end of game 2. So big win there for Tyson as they try and chase down VIZIO at the top of our Mobile 1 leaderboard. Let's take a look, though, at our Mobile 1 high performance moment here for game number 3. Again, our final game on World's Edge, and it was this cleanup on VIZIO. Borton going down early, and Blitz and Sung trying to hold the fort here behind this pillar. They have good cover for that eastern edge, but the problem is Esports Arena comes down the hill from the west, and they're able to just wipe them out. And even another team rolling in to get on the fun, and it was Twerkaholics, but they couldn't get it done. So this was just really well played here from Esports Arena. They catch VIZIO in a very tough position with a player already down, and they come in just from the perfect angle. This cover towards the east does not help them whatsoever. Phony beaming with the flatline, follows up with the PK, and also a very key tactical shield there from the Newcastle to stall that horizon on the peak, and it gives Esports Arena just enough breathing room to make sure they clean up that fight without anybody going down, and that is a big reason why they are able to parlay this into a second place finish here in game number 3. Esports Arena have looked good so far tonight. We'll see if they can get a win under their belt when we head over to Storm Point. However, do want to remind you once again, first of all, I believe I had the chat command wrong. You are looking for !donate in Twitch chat if you want to help out our friends at CHOC. That is Children's Hospital of Orange County. We have partnered with them for years, and we are certainly excited to do it again. This year, we have our own team at CHOC Walk's 30th anniversary event. And if you donate $200 or more by August 20th, that is this week, so make sure to get in there quickly, you will get a VIP entry to Disneyland on August 27th. So that means you get to come in, general admission during the day, but at 9 p.m., everybody else gets kicked out. You get to hang out all by yourself with the other VIPs. So make sure to get in on that !donate right now. We are excited to be partnering with CHOC once again to raise money for an awesome non-profit hospital. So make sure to check that out. Now, let's talk a little bit about what's going on at Esports Arena. I want to tell you about PvE. You may have heard about it before. I've talked about it here on Series Z plenty of times, but maybe you're new and you haven't seen what it's all about. We know some of you folks, you like to compete in those big, chunky tournaments. You want to get in 6 games of Apex, but other folks, maybe you want to compete in esports at a little more bite-sized pieces. Well, PvE provides exactly that. You can go out to your local esports arena today. Use !locations in Twitch chat right now to find an esports arena near you, and you can compete. All you have to do is buy some tokens, compete in the leaderboard of your choice, and put up your best scores. We have a range of different games and mode that you can compete in every single week. We've got things like Aim Labs, Valorant, Apex Legends, and more. Maybe some Guilty Gear Strive. Are you a Smash Ultimate Home Run Derby ace? Or are you a big fan of Mario Kart? You can compete in them every single week. We've got thousands of dollars in prizing every week, so make sure to get to an esports arena today and get in on the fun. Also, make sure to remember you can keep track of your scores on our 24/7 leaderboard streams over on YouTube. Jack there in studio at just short of 60,000 points there on Aim Lab. So if you can beat his score, and many other players from all across the country head into Esports Arena today and compete in PvE. And make sure to donate to our friends at Chalk. We're going to a quick break right now. When we come back, we're kicking off the second half. Jamerson and T-Square will have all the action from Storm Point when we come back.
All right, welcome back to Series E. Just before the break, Team Esports Arena was finally able to put a stop to the reign of dominance of Team VIZIO here for VIZIO Week, but it was ultimately Team Tyson that took the win. Let's see how much that ends up shaking up the leaderboard as we take a look at the Mobile 1 leaderboard to see if anyone has taken away that first place spot from Team VIZIO. They were leading with 28 at the beginning of game number 3, but now that lead has been cut down to 15 points. But Team VIZIO are still in first place. They had another top finish, or a decent finish, in game number 3, and it's Team Tyson with that win now here in second place with 40 points.
Yeah, I believe they had 48 points there, so not too shabby considering they got eliminated fairly early, but monster game from Tyson and ESA right there. And one of the teams that you highlighted before the break was Start a Fight. They've been consistent. The fighting, obviously strong. It's in their name. It's a matter of, when you look at this team, Pickett has tended to be, tends to go down first in these team fights because he's the one that's opening things up. So it has to be either he pulls on the reins just a little bit, or the other players on his team need to be playing just as aggressive. And a majority of the time, when you try to play aggressive, it's because you're trying to end these fights as fast as possible so you can avoid the third party. So it's completely understandable why that's happening. But, we've seen so many great different team compositions, a lot of different styles coming into play. And now that we move maps, I'm curious to see if teams are sticking with what they previously had or if they're going to mix it up a little bit.
That's right. We are heading into our second half of the day, meaning we are going into Storm Point. Let's join on board with our winners from game number 3. That's going to be Team Tyson in just a moment. But again, speaking back to that point again, I think, it's been just growing pains for Start a Fight, right? Matt Pickett now playing more of a fragger role, trying to be a bit more on the front lines instead of playing support in the back lines here, as Team Tyson will be taking that shipfall drop here. Doesn't seem like they are contested whatsoever. see if the loot is any good for them so far. This is another thing that I want to talk about. I feel like the weapon choices so far has been pretty free, and it feels like so many guns are actually playable. But hold on just a moment. Team Razor are taking a fight.
Yeah, I was like, what is going on right here? Is there a boxing match that's taking place? So where are the weapons? Nobody has a weapon right now, and now Razor is going to be naked and afraid. The shots coming through from Blakeu looking really strong with that flatline, but you still have a couple of teammates without weapons that they had to go and hunt those down. The knock shield of the sentry so far. Paps struggling to finish the kill on the ground. You may as well just go for the finisher at that point, or for the res onto your boy. But now it's going to be a 2-on-1 situation, maybe a 3-on-1 situation, and still players without weapons. The zone's already closing, fellas. You got to get your guns while you can.
Oh boy, they need to be fast here, as now Esports Arena, Phony Head coming in to help out. He doesn't have anything to his name either. Clayton has been thirsted. What is going on in this match? You can see that.
I can tell you exactly what's going on. Season 14 in a nutshell. This is exactly what's going on.
Pretty much land on edge, fight, and then zone closes in on you. That's been like the ranked meta so far. Esports Arena, Phony Head, the only one up, is gonna go down. McDonald's Wi-Fi ends up taking the dub there just in time as the ring starts closing in. Noxious, though, still having to defend over here. It looks like possibly another team coming in. Never mind, it was the remnants of Razor Sang going down. So 2 squads are down as VIZIO now are taking their fight. Ankle-biters actually get finished off there. So VIZIO ends up winning their fight off their drop. So 3 50-50s already concluding. But you can see now, with the changes to the season, that the 50-50s are that much more punishing here, because as soon as you're done with it, the ring's already closing.
Exactly, and that's what we talk about with the value of certain legends, right? Where Valkyrie is almost a must if you're going to be playing on the edge. You know, no one's really a must. You know, don't get that wrong, but you know, you're going to need something to compensate for these changes. And you know, when you're thinking about these 50-50s, as you just alluded to, it's tough, and that's why Watson will skyrocket. That's why Loba could be very, very popular. But again, these legends aren't your typical picks, and they're becoming a little bit more and more popular. So we'll see if that continues to be some sort of change now that people are getting used to the changes that have happened with this ring and how fast it is closing in on you now, because it's already coming down on these teams. And the teams over towards the northern side, if they don't have a lot of medkits, they're going to be eating a lot of storm damage.
Yeah, taking a look at the ring, it is pulling down towards that antenna side. Some of Jurassic Park is going to be in, and I just... something about antenna. I don't know why the ring likes to try and avoid it, even though it's like a hard pull down to antenna. This could still be pulling over towards Jurassic Park. It's going to come down to the team's experiences so far on Stormpoint, where they think this ring is going to pull. For me, it is so difficult to call. For Start a Fight Esports, though, over at Cenote Cave right now, they are having a great start. They do have a team ahead of them. The team rotating in from that Mills side. Triple purple armors against actually double purple and a blue for Cryptic. Now we saw in the last game, Cryptic not able to quite take the fights that they wanted here, as Wades is going to be forced down, almost getting cracked. He only has 2 cells to his name. There we go, getting handed off some from his squad mates. He's got the blue armor swap instead. So now Cryptic, they're slowly getting actually eaten away in terms of their meds here. So they've got to be careful. Again, you cannot be playing like this. They are playing way too passively in these fights.
Yeah, you're going to get punished when you play this passive, and you can see Sleeky Panda just waiting for his opportunity. A couple of different options here. He looks like he's going to select the one player, kind of isolate him on over towards the side, and potentially takes all these players down over towards the black hole, which allows players like Aves to come around the corner. Ideally, you're going to have an automatic weapon in these situations. The scout not going to really be able to do much, and this is why I love watching Pickett play. He's just so aggressive. He's definitely the entry fragger, but remember, we're talking about how he has been the first player to go down numerous times, so he's going to play this a little bit safe, back off, let Sleepy Panda go and do the job. Now Sleepy Panda is going to be entry fragging, and the baiting and switching was phenomenal there for start a fight. Third party potentially coming in. That's going to be Nerf coming in from behind, and that's what's so tough, right? It's like you both dance around this fight, and this is exactly what happens.
Yeah, and teams really do need to start honing on to basically the third-party timings now. It's adjusted, right? So it's become so much more difficult to know when the third parties are coming. We're already at 1 minute and 20 seconds for the ring to close, and typically in the old ring timer, it's 1 minute 30 where you're rotating out before the ring even starts closing and such. So it's it's so many internal timers that you kind of have to relearn with the season, but not just for ranked, but also here for competitive. For Pip, I don't even know. They're making their rotation in now. They've got the Trident down here, and it looks like they might actually be a little bit stuck. There we go. They've got the parallel parking in play, but I don't like this positioning with that Trident holding up in a crevice like that. Noxious, though, looking to try and keep a team stuck inside of this IAC armory.
For a second, I was getting Avatar, Last Airbender vibes, but then I realized it's Yip Yip and not Ip Ip, so I have no idea what's going on with that team name. We'll just keep it at that, as Noxious is trying to be obnoxious over here. They are possibly getting punished for this one, though. Hello. No one was expecting this player going onto the roof, and it's going to be Basic with the flat line. Dalton coming through with the answer. The zone starting to tick away at Killa, and this is all she wrote for this enemy team.
Yeah, they just need to wait him out at this point. He should just bleed out with no opportunity to even hit a heal. Noxious will go ahead and pick that one up. Get McLovin, back into this game. The timing, there we go. Longbone Malone gets thirsted here, so that's going to be a quick, well, that's going to be a re-res, actually, in just a moment onto one of them, I believe. It was FKA. I ended up trying to challenge them there. Now he's going to be forced to rat this one out. Not really going to have an opportunity to try and come back to pick up that banner, unfortunately for him. Ring 1 has finished closing, and we are down to 16, so we saw it just before running away, as it does seem like one more player has gone down for Team VIZIO. They are not changing things up in terms of their composition. They are continuing to run the Octane Bloodhound and Vantage composition to really fight on the edges here for Team Tyson. Nothing being changed for them as well. They are running the Crypto Watson along with the Newcastle, so I'm glad to see that old things are staying true, that teams want to try and run similar compositions on both maps.
Z Davis sitting on over towards this antenna side. Got the naked R301. Hey, he's got the 2X on it at least. That should be fairly useful for these mid to long range fights. But I'm curious to see, Jamerson, where this zone's going to exactly go. When you look at Tyson, they've been so good at predicting where this one's going to be at that you almost want to say it's going to fall over towards the antenna side, directly onto their spot, because you go back to the harvester zone that they had. Great positioning there, climatizer, fantastic spot, and they're really setting their play style in the ground, saying, hey, we're the new team to watch when it comes to picking exactly where these end games are going to be.
Yeah, the nice thing about this position is, of course, they're going to have access with the drone to that beacon scan over and over again. Z Davis will be able to safely pick that one up for them. But in terms of the rotation, they have two ways really out. A lot of times teams can kind of get bogged down and stuck inside of antenna, but with the fact that they have that Newcastle, that mobile shield, along with his castle walls, they have the option to go north or to the south relatively safely here and rotate out if this ring ends up pulling away from them. So even though they don't have the Valkyrie, they still have the tools to make the adjustments that they're going to need, because, well, they're not going for those big rotations, right? They're going for try to play close to center zone and then make a small rotation in. As we join on board with Excedrin, it does seem like we do have a team kind of in their sights, but Kimchi Lee ends up getting tagged as forced back for right now. But for Excedrin, this is a squad that has been looking for these fights all day long.
I'm curious how many Seers we have in this lobby compared to on World's Edge. I'm kind of guessing a little bit less based on what we've seen, Jamerson. I'm wondering if you kind of feel the same thing, but it's nice to see Maggie being introduced into the meta and what players are going to be able to do with it, because any single time that you buff a legend, people are going to give it a go and see how strong they can really test the limits of that particular legend. And we've also seen a handful of other unorthodox things. For example, Zeratricky, throwback to Team Razor, previously busting out Fuse now, and he's on Furia, and you would never expect that legend to be picked up in competitive play. So again, everything is viable. It really just depends on what style you want to play.
Yeah, we really only had one Fuse player in NA for a while. That was going to be fun for Team Liquid, but seeing more and more come up. I'm loving the legend diversity right now, and we get to see it here. Mike and Ike, they're running Mad Maggie, Seer, and Horizon. Very team heavy, team fighting oriented, and they're going to have to deal with it. There's it seems like a lot of presence down here. Nice armor swap for them to utilize, as well as Fearing Live is just clearing out the angles. They've already gotten one initial knock. Team Nerf are looking for the third party. They hear the shots, they see the Thirst is about to get finished off, so they know that the third party is just laying in wait. I'm surprised that Nerf ends up showing their hand so early on for this one, but they do want to try and get involved to try and find the last members of start a fight. RCO, Sleepy Panda, ends up getting a knock on the Messiah. I don't know exactly from what angle, but he absolutely beamed him here.
I'm really looking forward to watching Nerf play at their full potential. They've seemed to slow down today, but again, this is the lobby realization. This lobby is so strong that a team like Nerf still not able to get things going. The shots from Fear and Live are completely on point. That golden longbow basically putting in some serious work. Meanwhile, on your kill feed, look at the amount of players eliminated. Elevator Music taken out. McDonald's Wi-Fi, one of our good open teams, eliminated as well. A lot of those kills going on over to VIZIO, and they'll take those 10 times out of 10. Big fight happening though, as Cruisin is going to get the initial knock for Team Excedrin.
Yeah, it was got a third-party attempt now as Excedrin turned it around onto them. It's going to be Chirp Bip Bip going down. Oh, it sounded like I was just stuttering or lagging there. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry, production. It's fine. Team Tyson have been able to actually make their move. They were a bit more central when it came to being inside of Antenna, and now they're going to actually fall. Our winners of game number 3. Someone Sinus able to make the push onto them. Twerkaholics in some trouble here. Only got Logislays up as he's joining the fight a little bit too late. Chasing after this one, gets the crack. Will finish off Excedrin. So the fourth party is just a little bit successful there. Unfortunately, Excedrin going down top 12. Do have a few kill points, but again, today has not been the placement points for Excedrin at all whatsoever. Team VIZIO, as we join on board with them, playing on the northeast side of Antenna. Nice scan from Sung. They note that multiple teams are in this building. They have to be cautious in the way that they approach this fight.
Yeah, and teams like VIZIO are so stoked to see what happened in that kill feed, as IA is going to get eliminated. The third party is looking really strong right now for VIZIO if they can clean this one up fairly quickly. And it looks like the great flank coming in from Borton, and that's all she wrote for the Redcoats. Song doing a great job right there, keeping just that sliver of his shields. Meanwhile, MJ is going to get a knock onto Intel. The kill feed going absolutely nutty here in zone number 3. Look out, that's a grenade.
Oh boy, Team Intel backed up into a corner right now. The Mad Maggie ultimate going in as well. Mike and Ike is almost mirrored composition here as IC will fall. Team Intel has gone down. Mike and Ike picking that one up. They're trying to stick the res as Nerf are coming in for the third party. They need to try and deny that one. Otherwise, this turns into a 3v2. But Nerf just not able to lay out the damage quite yet, forcing them back and not having the opportunity to get angles on them. We'll see if maybe Turns can hit another Q. He does have it up, but Nerf are just going to go ahead and call it here. They did end up picking up the banner for Messiah to try and get him back on in. The big question is, do they have a beacon to actually plug him into?
Well, they could end up going to a crafting area. Remember, the mobile is inside of the crafting rotation, so that is a potential play. And oh my goodness, that's as close as it gets right there. Risky rotation coming in for Nerf, but it's not over yet. There's still a lot of teams in the Antenna area.
Yeah, they get some great scans in. We are down to 7 squads, though, so it's a little bit freer for them. There were so many buildings actually still available for them. VIZIO are going to full send it, though. They read the numbers. They saw that it was just a 2-man, and they know they have the initial advantage. Blitzen, though, does get cracked before he trades back for the armor himself. Now, one person on the door pushing forward. There's the knock. VIZIO will clean up. Team Nerf. Sung, though, almost goes down. He'll survive, gets the scan off. Beast in the Hunt popping that whole time for him as FKA. They've been relying on Killa this entire game to try and rat things out. He has secured top 6 for them.
What an exciting team to watch. VIZIO recognizing that that was a duo as they flew in. Again, zero hesitation. Yes, you took a lot of damage going forward, but you still have half of a player to go and take down, plus the advantages from the enemy not having in third. So I love the way that they played that one, taking over that spot, eliminating another great team over here. Smart angle from McLovin to go over towards where those spider nests are, but they're not ready for Mike and Ike, and the damage that's coming out of this gold longbow from Fearing Live. They have to bait and switch over here. I'm curious to see if MJ wants the Wrecking Ball forward, and he does. You can see the missile swarm is coming through, so they can't fully charge. This Twerkaholics gonna get eliminated. VIZIO getting involved in that one, and the Spiders for a little bit of extra grief as they want to push forward on this fight.
Yeah, it's VIZIO now, though, ready to take another fight. And you can see why they really do want to play a bit more malleable in the way they approach a lot of these fights. VIZIO ends up losing out on one. Sun goes down. The Mastiff just was not accounted for in that fight. Now, unfortunately, VIZIO are left on the retreat here. Important for them, though, is just surviving. We have hit the top 4 as Noxious about to go down. Never mind, Dalton ends up clutching up against Mike and Ike in that 1v1. But I don't know if he's going to be able to get the res onto McLovin in time. He does have the gold bag, and he does get them in. That's going to be huge for them. Yeah, gold knockdown. I don't know if we're ever going to be able to train ourselves out of calling it the gold bag at this point.
Yeah, right. And it's such a great change, which also makes Newcastle even stronger. I was playing with Taxi the other day, and we only lost like 2,000 RP, so no big deal. But the dude literally wanted us to go in and get knocked over and over again as he was playing Newcastle with the gold knockdown. So it was an interesting play style, but Newcastle definitely gets higher value now because that knockdown shield gives whatever shield he has, plus you have to go through 1,000. It's just not going to happen when you get that gold knockdown res. But VIZIO, they don't have Sung's banner. They're just going for the placement over here. Obviously, they're the only duo. We'll find out if other teams send it on to them and give them a taste of their own medicine.
Team VIZIO, the only duo, like you said, and now they are receiving the focus from both squads. You can see Noxious are keeping an eye on the right-hand side, but this time around, Lox is actually coming in from the other angle. This is going to be an opportunity now for VIZIO if they end up committing to this push, and time is slowly running out for them. There's still a minute before this zone closes up, and so they can change their mind. Noxious being aware, making sure that they're keeping tabs of their other team, and so Paps has the pings down. They note that there is a squad over there, and so it looks like someone signed us. We'll just go ahead and back away, noting that it was that 3-man. I think every team is doing the mental math. Every team wants to take the 3v2 instead of the 3v3 if they could. But VIZIO, this entire time, are just hoping that no one puts the attention onto them.
They also have, I believe, a priority position inside of the zone where everyone has to kind of rotate towards them. And the big thing here is, what are your weapons? Do you have the medium to long range to poke these teams into one another? And when you look at someone sign us, you have 30-30 in hands for Key. He's going to be Key in this type of instance, and they're going to go with a skyward dive because they're not interested in passing these two teams. So the idea would be is get on the opposite side of them, lay down that Newcastle wall, and try to get some sort of setup over here. But when you're flying, everybody's going to be focusing you, and they do pick the fence. So really smart play from someone sign us.
Yeah, they throw down that Newcastle shield just as well. Later, when he has an opportunity, we'll have the interception pylon. You can see Key is just setting up that back corner for themselves. And so right now, they have no impetus to move whatsoever. Round 5 closing up. And for someone sign us, they have all the information. They know where the duo is as well. They're able to ping that one up with that Valkyrie scan. And they gotta be careful. Oh, that Valkyrie Dalton might actually end up going down. Key gets a free knock onto Dalton. This is gonna be Simon Sinus actually going forward. They do have that Newcastle ultimate to utilize to cover the distance as well, but they don't even need to use it. They're just getting free shots onto the squad.
Yeah, and that's gonna really prove useful for VIZIO, who's watching these two teams that are full 3-man squads eat each other alive. And the last thing you want to do is give this team that's been playing out of their mind an opportunity to just pounce on you. And this is exactly what they're hoping for. They've worked hard to get into this position, forcing these two teams towards each other. And now after healing and getting the initial knocks, they're the ones even stealing the kills.
Yeah, they got one onto McLovin, bring this down to a 3v2. Lox just narrowly gets behind that shield to stay alive for the time being. VIZIO now pushing up. McLovin has been thirsted off. Noxious trying their best to survive inside. On the small little crevice, small little angle here. They are in between both of the teams here. So the 3v2 as Noxious are still putting all their attention onto the other 3-man. Really opening things up. You can see Blitzen even playing this one a little aggressively pushing forward. VIZIO feel like they have the momentum turning in their favor, even though they are just the 2-man. They know there's a 3-man on the other side. The scout shot splits and hitting the double taps. So, excuse me, not the double taps, but hitting the headshots with that one as round 6 will now close in.
I mean, he was shooting that thing so fast, you thought it was a double tap. I had to check Jamerson, to be honest with you. As soon as he shot that fast, I was like, is my man's going with the double tap? Because it is really strong. At that type of range, it's more, you know, you think as a style to use it as a hip fire. And now the rotation's coming in. VIZIO doesn't have to move much, but right now they are getting pinched, so they're going to make their way back on over towards this 2v2, trying to take this one cleanly, and that's the key word here. Hitting these shots is not going to happen. Someone sign us now, coming in and playing cleanup. They worked so hard getting to this point. Great skyward dive against the fence, and now it looks like it's all but over for the team on the opposite side over here. Key just needs to find his opportunity to lay down the shots, and that's exactly what he's doing. Noxious didn't stand a chance after they lost their third player. Someone sign us, taking a big game 4.
Yeah, still have to commend VIZIO. Despite being that 2-man that whole time in the 3v2 for the late game, they're doing an amazing job of trying to control the ring, control the teams around them, and taking advantage of the small little mistakes that were being made here and there. They were able to really try to capitalize off of that, end up picking up at least 1 kill point before they ended up going down. But you can see, like you mentioned, the thought process there. Fight the 2v2, don't fight the 2v3. And so they immediately pulled off of that. It was just the shot didn't land. Speaking of shots, well, not too many were taking place because so many teams were fighting 50-50, just going mano a mano.
Yeah, unfortunately, you can't throw your heirloom at people. Otherwise, you know, they'd be selling a lot more of those if that was the case. But look at the shots right there from Blakeu. Unfortunately for Razor, they couldn't get anything going, and right after that, ESA couldn't find any weapons at all. We had her on board with 3 different teams that couldn't find a weapon as the zone was closing. If that won't tilt you off the planet Earth, I don't know what will, but keeping your composure always really key in Apex. Going again, that's why we're playing 6 games, as game number 4 came to an exciting conclusion. But yes, props to VIZIO for losing out on Sung and then still keeping their composure as that duo, picking up those extra points that they needed.
Yeah, so another top finish. VIZIO has already been in the lead since the beginning of the day, and they're maintaining that spot so far. Another high fragging game for them, and we'll see what that means for our leaderboard. We're going to go ahead and send it on over to Yeso to break down our first game of Storm Point. So Yeso, go ahead and take it away.
Thank you, gentlemen. We've traded out the 6 games of VIZIO and Nerf 50-50s that we had a couple of weeks ago for just 50-50s across the map here today. A lot of chaos in the early game, and that does tend to breed a little bit of a slower mid-game. You get that kind of dip in action for a little while there before these teams get really clustered in these late circles. And ultimately, we end up with 3 in that final circle. And T-Squared talking about the composure that VIZIO was playing with to try and keep getting points on the board after Sung goes down, and they almost get blessed, right? Someone sign us electing to kind of send it a little bit onto the other 3-player squad, but someone sign us do a good thing. They don't do the full send, they just posture forward, apply pressure, but don't fully commit to the fight, and that means that ultimately there's never really an opening for VIZIO to slide in for a third party to try and steal the win, and someone sign us play that kind of fine line so well in that fight that they end up grabbing the win. They picked up 8 kills in their effort, so a nice 20 points overall for the squad in this one. And that is a very good victory to kick off the half here on Storm Point. But still important to note, as Jamerson aptly did so, VIZIO continues to just rack up points, right? They've been in the top 5 in every single game so far today, because I believe they finished in 5th place in that 3rd game on World's Edge. Regardless, they're getting into these late circles. They're stacking kills every single game. It's why they had 55 points at the end of our first half, and they'll have plenty more after this game. Someone sign us are the story here of game number 4, and let's take a look now at our Mobile One high performance moment for our first game on Storm Point, and it is the finish here. VIZIO ultimately, they elect to send it on the now 2-man squad over here. Someone sign us on the other side, able to get the assist in on those kills. And then someone sign us a pretty easy clean up here. They could throw out a couple of nades. They've got the numbers advantage. All they have to do is hit their shots. Dalton goes down first. One more quickly follows. And it's just a clean finish there from someone sign us. So this was, again, just another example of Someone Sign Us just doing a good job of stepping in and out of these fights, picking the right time to step forward and apply pressure and the right time to back away. They take the patient approach as VIZIO elects to go in for the fight. They just throw some shots from a distance, and then as soon as they can clean up those kills, they know, okay, we've got the numbers advantage. Let's just go in, clean it up, grab the win, and they do exactly that. So well played there from Someone Sign Us, and they earn a nice victory here in game number 4. We still have, though, 2 more to go here before we wrap up open night here in VIZIO Week. Plenty more Apex action to come. We'll check out that Mobile 1 leaderboard, and T-Squared and Jamerson will get you ready for game 5 when we come back.
Tyson boneless buffalo bites have that tasty kick of flavor, so they're perfect for any get-together. If there are any left when your guests arrive. Tyson Anytizers Chicken. More kicks of flavor, more smiling snackers, more to love. Tyson.
Now, even the biggest headaches are toast.
Excedrin keeps your head in the game.
For no more throbbing noggins.
Excedrin, game over for headaches.
For nothing, baby. Let's get in there.
All right, welcome back, guys, to Series E. We are 4 games down, only 2 left remaining. So let's go ahead and set the stakes by checking in with the Mobile 1 leaderboard now. Team VIZIO, with their consistency across the last 4 games, Tom, they're at 76 points.
Ridiculous amount of points for VIZIO. Everyone is so strong in this lobby, too. I mean, I was highlighting Nerf, thought they were going to pop off, but VIZIO saying, no, it's VIZIO week. We're going to show up. And we're going to show out. A team like Esports Arena, tough break for them. They went from, what, 3rd or 4th place all the way down to 7th place after their big game that they had in game number 3. So hopefully these teams that didn't get weapons in the previous round can get weapons this time.
Yeah, we had about 3, maybe 4 50-50s taking place on our first match of Storm Point, and it looked like pups, right? We're just dropping on each other, just duking things out, right? Just put him up, and we got to see a lot of melee fights taking place. We'll see if maybe things kind of tempered down a little bit here in game number 5, but you know, for a squad, I think that's not going to be slowing anything down. It's going to be Team VIZIO. We're not going to be joining on board with them because it was a different squad that ended up taking that win in game number 4. So let's go ahead and join on board with, I believe it was, Someone Sign Us that ends up taking that win.
Yeah, Someone Sign Us with a great skyward dive on the opposite side of the fence, but more importantly, how they played that one, kind of bullying Noxious into a situation where they made some mistakes. And then once they flipped around VIZIO, that forced VIZIO to go and take that 2-on-2 so they could try to play for second instead of third, maybe get some quick armor swaps, play for first place. That's always the goal, right? But the positioning was so powerful from someone Sinus that it allowed them to kind of do whatever they needed to win that game. So great shot calling by whoever was doing that one. Great skyward dive overall, and they did it at the right time too. You would expect them. Oh, Phony with the charge rifle. He doesn't need no scope. Look, he's going for the triple kill over here as he's going to eliminate 2 players on the bridge.
Yeah, that might have been a free res for them, as we do have that riot drill coming out. Nice swing coming up from behind, as he's coming for the flank. McDonald's Wi-Fi will get finished off, and you can see Kling instantly getting rezzed up. So this time around, the 50-50 going the other way in favor of Esports Arena. Like we said, we were wondering what happened to them. Unfortunately, they went down early in game number 4, and so that's a huge setback, and they'll have to make up for lost time. We saw them try to make up for lost time in game number 3. We'll see if they have a similar game plan. Maybe stick to the edges once again, find those fights, and have a very similar performance here in game number 5.
They're playing a composition that wants to take fights, and at this point, when they realize, okay, there's so many points separating us between us and VIZIO, we might as well just go and see what we can get away with. And that's what I wanted to see this team do in the beginning, on the open night especially. On the pro night, you're not going to get away with that. But on a night like tonight, you're going to be going against some teams that don't have as much experience as you, and that's what they're here for. They're here to learn, and learn from the best. And Esports Arena, definitely some of the best players that we have here and inside of North America, as Sang Lion takes a ton of damage over here. This early into the game makes you wonder, is he going to have to slow heal with syringes, and does he even have enough syringes to cover these health meds? It doesn't look like he does.
Yeah, Blake has tried to challenge for that high ground at the very least, but yeah, this is going to be the last of his meds. Essentially, Blake, he focused down, they jump down onto him, but he stays alive for now with 1 HP. Box of T gets taken out by that charge rifle, and unfortunately, Razor slowly falling apart. Blake, you trying to hit up that battery. You can see Noxious are just going for that full reset. This was our second place team in game number 4. Now they are trying to force the issue up against Team Razor themselves, though. You do have that angle. Blake Yu unfortunately goes down. Dalton picking that one up, and it's just the final 1v3 for Noxious to finish off Team Razor in just a moment.
Yeah, Noxious is feeling good. They just had a really solid performance in the previous game. Now they're looking confident in this 50-50, bullying out Team Razor. And this is unfortunate for Team Razor because this is one of the teams that's on the verge of potentially getting relegated and having to fight through to go and earn their spot back into another season of Series Z. So getting spoiled by one of these open teams over here is Sang Lion's going to go and hit that sniper's mark onto Paps. And if you can't find weapons, well, you know, just spawn one inside of your ultimate. As Song's now in a 1v3 situation, and he doesn't need a scan to see that he needs to get on out of here.
Very unfortunate here for them at this point. So this is now finally an opportunity for someone to try and slow things down up against Team VIZIO. I mean, they are currently in first place with what, 76 points. And so now it looks like VIZIO, they might not be able to pick up the kill points, and Sung is just going on the full retreat. I don't know if he'll have an opportunity to double back around. He's not even going to have the Beast of the Hunt in time for these banners. So yeah, this is going to be a full ratting style for Sung at this point.
You know, his teammates had to rat without him in the previous game. It's only sweet justice that Song is going to return the favor to these guys. Unfortunately, as the lone Bloodhound in a scan meta and with gray armor, I don't think he's going to be lasting very long as pings are going down from Team Nerf. And this is going to allow other teams like Tyson, Esports Arena, to start a fight, for example, to really catch up over here. And I got my money on, after getting that 50-50 initially, I think Esports Arena is definitely a team to watch out for here in Game 5.
Yeah, and they're set up in a pretty good spot right now. The ring is pulling up towards the north side wall, high point, all real well within. As Esports Arena, they are looking for another fight. They found another team coming out from that wall side. Wig has been isolated, though, dropped down a little bit low. He's going to try and pop that bat. He's got Clane there backing him up, leaving Phonyhead in the 1v3 currently, but he is ready to take on all challengers. The Eva 8 dishing out damage, and it's the charge rifle of all things to take out Deviluke Maiden here. So now Esports Arena, after being able to stabilize, they should be able to push forward. You can see Clane now trying to go in for that flank, and they have to leave this player alone as the nice beamage comes out. Esports Arena are going to pick up another +3.
Yeah, 3 teams eliminated, and ESA is taking down 2 of them, and 4 of those kills have been on the back of the no-scoped charge rifle there coming in for ESA. So, again, a team to watch out for as they understand with their composition change how much more aggressive they have to play, especially when you consider the math and the fact that VIZIO gets eliminated fairly early. Mike and Ike on the hunt as well with another aggressive team composition, but I'm excited to see what Nicewig is going to be able to do on Horizon. The last couple games he's been on Watson, a little bit of a passive legend. He has tons of experience on both of these legends, but I'm looking forward to watching them take these team fights.
We have Mike and Ike, though. Nice riot drill coming up from MJ, who have been looking to try and get aggressive in these games. Found a small moment in game number 4, but they were not able to build up the momentum. Unfortunately, Rat taking out Rat. That's going to be Team VIZIO getting knocked out by Sang Lion. He has been absolutely deadly with that Vantage sniper's mark there, as Mike and Ike kind of lost positioning on this fight and kind of lost where this team is. The scan comes out, and they're going to wait things out. Looks like it might be Excedrin on the other side of this one. It's cruising. I don't know if he's got the beast of the hunt quite yet. Kimchi Lee does have his ultimate. If they need to cross the distance here, if they can get the critical damage, it'd be huge. Cruising, just sidestepping that Sierra Q as well. And now Excedrin still fighting off that checkpoint. That's the damage. That should be the go signal for Kimchi Lee to throw down that ultimate.
Yeah, Cruisin's probably going to beast of the hunt and then hit immediate scan to find out where the player that's weak is healing and how they can basically isolate the rest of these players that are separating themselves because they need to go and take cover. Great plays from Cruisin, just continuing to hit the perfect scans, using cover on his way up, the shots and the tracking on point, and Mike and Ike looking like they're about to lose out on another one if Cruisin keeps playing like this.
Yeah, Cruisin is doing an amazing job so far. That off angle just completely unawares, as now he does back away, the gravity lift keeping him out from that doorway, but Excedrin will go ahead and continue to push. They got the beast of the hunt popping the whole time. Fearing Live will fall, leaving only one remaining now, as Excedrin will go ahead and continue to chase down these kills, as they will ultimately be rotating now this way. Oh no, the Mackie ball's coming in, and this racetrack is set up. MJ is trying his best. I mean, it almost looks like he's playing on a surf map for a quick second here, but gonna go ahead and get off that one for now. But Excedrin should not be giving up the chase whatsoever. You can see them continue to chase him down. This is still going to lead them into the pathway of the ring, though. So eventually they will end up at their goal. You can see they're on the other side of the wall as Tyson ends up getting into a fight. That's going to be Leda. Tyson knocked out as we join on board with him. Looks like it was a third party coming out. And so now it's Redcoats having to be careful in this fight, as they did take some damage, but they do have the time to go for the reset and just back away.
Wow, that was impressive from the Redcoats. Tyson, not an easy team to take down, especially with that much force coming in from behind. And you can see why. The shots from Locks, so crispy with the 2x R301 over here. But understanding the situation, 2 teams in the area, just got done fighting. Most likely going to mean more players are going to try to rotate over here. Let's take our loot, let's reset, and then find out exactly what the approach is going to be.
It's going to be a skyward dive, actually, as Excedrin, I don't know if they were able to hunt down that last player, but they might just be in a full new fight now. Yeah, we've got the Seer ultimate down, the exhibit giving away all their positions, but enemy does find time to at least hit that bat. It's going to be Nerf on the other side of this one. You can see Messiah needed to hit up that med kit, leaving them a little bit vulnerable, but Forsey and Turns have a nice cross angle set up to try and keep Excedrin at bay. Both sides actually really taking stock of what's going on in this fight, but Nerf have full committed down here onto the low ground, and they're just going to go ahead and back away from this one. Yeah, they've given up position. There's no reason to try and fight uphill when Excedrin have such a beautiful crossfire set up, and Kimchi Lee lasering in with that R301. See if that riot drill gets anything for them, and it does actually tick away, and they're going to go ahead and charge forward now with that Maggie ultimate. Cruising is on top of them as well. The beam is still there, but unfortunately just a little bit far away, as the R301 is proving to be very valuable now. Nice scan, catches one out. Kimchi Lee ends up not getting flanked because of it, but he's still in that sandwich. Oh no, enemy getting a little bit lost there, but they end up trading back 1 for 1. They get the scan down. Cruisin pushes up. The EVA 8 with the crack doesn't miss. on that last shot, fortunately for them, and Nerf will actually go down here as Cruisin gets that gold res on to Kimchi Lee.
I was just waiting to hear what you were going to say. Gold bag, gold knockdown, and you just said gold res.
Gold res.
I see what you're doing, Jamerson. I like as we hop on board with Team Intel. What a fight right there, though. What a big scan to be able to show that player on the right-hand side. I believe it was Messiah that was trying to play a little sneaky flank angle, and then the perfect Bloodhound scan showcases exactly what the plan was going to be for Team Nerf. But the new Intel roster, a lot of damage on the board, 500. You know, not a ton of damage, but you would expect some sort of kills and assists. Unfortunately, it's just been poke damage with that R301.
Yeah. For Team Intel, though, they are playing the northern side right now. This ring was continuing to pull up towards the northern side of the map, and so they just keep the map to their back, and that's a slow rotate down for them. They do note now that the ring is going to be pulling, basically. Not too far away from them, but they'll have to deal with incentive arise. If they note that the armor situation isn't the greatest for them, there might be an opportunity to drop down onto them. IA, though, will gift us the ring knowledge, and it does end up dropping right on top of them. And Team Intel, pretty happy with this as well.
Yeah, this is a great spot to be in. Look at all these teams on the southern side that have to make the rotation in. The east side especially looking extra congested, as there's going to be a lot of fighting that, for example, ESA could capitalize on. But look at Excedrin. They could be the last team to the party. Another team's kind of hanging out with them over towards that western side. ESA's got to be a little bit careful here. They do think that they're the last team into this fray, but if Excedrin decides that they want to come in behind them, this is going to be fourth and fifth parties.
Yeah, with so many teams running that Maggie, the distances to close, it's not that far at all. Clean gets the first knock onto Crip. Should be aware that this is a third party, that multiple teams are in the area for now. As long as they heard the shots, Clean is making sure that they hear their shots, as it's the riot drill of all things from Phony that gets the knock onto Basic. So now the 1v3 to finish it off. Never mind, they're actually going after the other squad here, playing a little ring around the rosy, but eventually they will be able to finish off FKA. Now, moving on to the next target is going to be Team Esports Arena. It's Cryptic that are still stuck down there. Wades end up thirsted. Clean finished that one off, but you can see the damage, the absolute carnage coming out from Team Esports Arena. Unfortunately, we see on the kill feed there, Sang gets finished off from Team Razor, only hitting top 12 for his squad.
I'm going to say, ring around the rosies, pocket full of kills for Phony? No? Come on now. Nobody? Anyone? Yes! We got one laugher. Anyone in the chat, feel free to put your LOLs in there too. I was thinking about that one for a long time. I love watching ESA play like this. I think this is exactly what they needed to bring to the table. Aggressiveness, especially on our open day. Confidence. Now we're starting to see exactly what this squad is worth when they don't have a Watson on their team. Noxious now going to drop down, immediately shoot down the Horizon ult and respond with one of their own. If you can get some grenades in there, they're going to be looking strong. Dual Arc Stars split up the team, and now all they need is to hit the scans. Everything coming into fruition here for Noxious, but they get countered, and you also see Phony in the kill feed picking up some kills as well as the Redcoats get eliminated. Paps with the initial push, and now look at this. It's ESA coming in after taking one fight. They are going to take another.
We have 8 kills, I believe, on Phony. Clean might have 3 himself. Wig has 3 as well. They're about to pick one more. That was a nice attempt. That was a great push. I loved how they approached that fight. It was just incomplete information, unfortunately, for Noxious there, not really realizing that another team was already in position to third party. Throughout all of that, though, Excedrin have been getting into another fight. We were expecting possibly them to move over towards where ESA is, but another team ended up being on this wall side compound that they ended up pushing. So that's going to be another fight for them, as Mike and Ike trying to fight this one out as a duo. It's MJ and Wiz up against Team Excedrin right now. That riot drill not doing much for them, not really quite connecting here. They're trying to approach this fight, pushing forward. Actually, on the other side, Cruisin was down on the ground, and so they're able to take advantage of this. The riot drill coming in, forcing MJ back as Wiz will fall, and now MJ is left, I believe, in a 1v2 here. Does end up using that gravity lift to go up, take the skies. Excedrin they might want to just try and take the time to take stock of what they have around and try and get cruising back into this one. But it looks like the fight is coming towards them. Kimchi Lee, this is the 2v1. They should be able to clean this one up, and they will. Mike and Ike have been knocked out. We're down to 7 squads, 17 players remaining.
The Moby is being called in too, so cruising, get back in there. Gonna need the scans, plus you're gonna have a lot of loot to go and siphon through. But here comes the shots, and you can also see, I believe, a player outline from someone over towards the northeast. So in between 2 different teams over here, when the respawn comes in, more than likely they're gonna get sent on, and we'll find out which team that is coming on over towards the side. It could be someone sign us looking to collapse.
Yeah, someone sign us, though. They've got to be careful themselves as they do end up getting tagged up. Don't quite have the Newcastle walls quite yet, but they will have, looks like the opportunity to just go ahead and swap around the loot. So for now, it should be a relatively okay rotation. They can kind of hug the wall along the way as they charge forward. Locks, again, they did have a great albeit risky skyward dive in that last game, but it ended up proving fruitful for them. So we'll see if this might be another one of those opportunities.
Kraber flatline on the high ground over here. Big problem is even if you get these knocks, you're not going to really be able to push on anything. No, they're going to send it even without a knock. Psycho plays from someone Sinus. The healing is going to happen right when they get to these fences, so this is a very, very aggressive play.
Surprised they ended up going in for those nades, even though they know it's a Watson squad on the other side. So a lot of that are probably eaten up, yep, by the interception pylon. So unfortunately, someone Sinus spending a lot more utility than they actually needed to. But the headshot comes out from Leda. He is really connecting now with these, but iLox has taken so much. It looks like it's a third party actually coming up from behind. Leda trying to hold that angle there, but they have been spotted out there now in the sandwich. It is Esports Arena on top of them, and Esports Arena, they are cleaning up the lobby. 12 kills here for Phonyhead. More on the table as Wig has been dropped down low, and you can see now they have shifted to go ahead and stabilize, but he ends up going down unfortunately there. Lufka from IA picking that one up, and now Esports Arena getting punished as Excedrin are coming in for the third party.
Not like this. ESA was going for a record-breaking type of game. What is Phony going? The charge rifle EVA 8 combo. I've never seen anything like it. This charge rifle has been the deadliest charge rifle in Series E history. Excedrin playing spoiler to the ESA hopes and dreams over here by taking this high ground angle. But what an aggressive showcase of talent there. Amazing display of team fighting ability. They're still in this one too. You can see them ratting it out directly below, and they're inside of the zone. So if Excedrin and AI decide they want to duke it out, this could be another third party opportunity.
It's just really unfortunate IA just kind of trapping teams, and now they're actually able to benefit off the loot that was left there. I believe they were all sitting on basically blues, and so they end up getting reds. And now, as you can see, Excedrin are looking to get aggressive. They do have that gravity lift. We do have the black hole coming in with the nades dropping down on top of them, but IA is able to avoid that. Take a look at Esports Arena coming around from behind as well. Kimchi Lee's got to be careful. Back away, cruising as well as they're getting tagged up. That's going to be Phony with the charge rifle. Again, and now Excedrin might actually go down here as Phony goes for the challenge. They're able to get the bats off at the very least. Phony now coming around from the other side and unfortunately misses it out on that duel. Klane is still up, but he needs to reload, and unfortunately throughout all of that, Excedrin are able to narrowly survive. Esports Arena only go down in 5th place, unfortunately, and Excedrin survived the storm. We're now down to our final 3 squads. It's looking like it might be a 3v2v2. We'll take a look at it in just a moment, or 3v3v1.
That was so fun to watch as ESA was putting on an absolute clinic over there. Phony going nutty with it, but Excedrin shutting that one down. We'll see if they're going to be able to walk away with this one as they have the high ground. Intel working with their full 3-man squad as well. There should be a rat somewhere, and that's why the pings are going down. And there it is, over towards the smoke area. Just the lone Bangalore. Logi Slay is doing whatever he can to grief whoever else is left in this lobby, putting himself directly in between the 2 teams, but he's not left for long in this world as he gets eliminated, going out in 3rd place. Great job ratting it out for the Torkaholics, but now it's Excedrin and Intel. Can the new Intel squad get their first win as a team?
Excedrin had the scans though, and Cruisin has been on top of it all game long. They're about 50% off away from getting that black hole singularity down. We'll see if Kimchi Lee might maybe have his ultimate. Again, it's going to come down to Cruisin'. Cruisin' scans are so valuable here. There's so many head glitch angles. You can see Intel are spread out, really keeping Excedrin at bay just because of the positioning alone. But Enemy is doing a great job of just keeping tabs on all the angles. That really wide swing coming out from Cruisin' and Kimchi Lee is keeping Intel kind of contained inside of this corner as Enemy is looking for his moment now. Cruisin' and Kimchi Lee right on the top of them. He does have the beast in the hunt. Doesn't get the knock quite yet, but he does at least get the damage off along with the scans. The EVA 8 long range allows Jet to get the battery off at the very least, but he will ultimately fall. Cruisin' now take it low, but it doesn't matter as Excedrin are looking to clean things up, and as soon as they finish off Excedrin will take the win here in game number 5.
Yeah, the high ground plus the beast of the hunt being popped is realistically all they needed. Just following suit after they hit what they needed to hit. Kimchi Lee came in with the wrecking ball as well as a little cherry on top to make sure that they were able to secure that team fight. And after putting a stop finally to ESA's ridiculous run, Excedrin not only taking them down, but getting a big dub for them as well.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like between both Excedrin and both Esports Arena, they probably have close to 30 eliminations between the two of them. I mean, Phony ended up going down with 12 before he ultimately fell. And so a large majority of the points are going to be basically aggregated amongst those two squads. And so what a great game. I'm glad that we get to see that, you know, when we get to the later rounds, when teams are kind of doing the math for themselves, they understand how they have to change up their tempo and change up their play style.
Not only that, but that is kind of like the play style that I would love to see ESA come with. And again, sometimes you take the lobby a little bit too seriously and you play a little bit too tight, but once you realize, hey, we need to go all out, that's the result that you get. And that's what these players are trained for. I mean, the only reason that they've, you know, gotten to this type of skill level is from testing the limits of what their abilities are, you know, not just, you know, the legend abilities, but their own abilities. How aggressive can you play? How, you know, fast paced can you play? Apex is all about capitalizing on advantages when you get them, no hesitating, not allowing enemy teams to heal, and ESA was a perfect example of that. So it was exciting to see, and if I'm the rest of these teams, I'm worried about running into ESA in game number 6.
Yeah, one of the things, especially about playing this style, is that it just mimics so much what ranked is like. The ranked experience is like for so many of these squads. Drop edge, fight edge, and continue, rinse and repeat, right? And so being able to kind of transition your normal day-to-day play style into competitive definitely does work out. This is an open night, so it's not the same kind of competition. We'll see if that kind of remains to be true, that if they're able to play this style once it comes to our pro night tomorrow. We're going to go ahead and send it on over to Yeso right now, though, to break down game number 5 before we head into the final game of the day. So Yeso, go ahead and take it away.
VIZIO going down early opens up a huge opportunity for so many teams in this 5th game of the day. We saw that Mobile 1 leaderboard going into game number 5, and they had a 34-point lead over second place Tyson. And so, you know, they can play a little fast and loose with that kind of lead, though they're probably disappointed going out this early. They still should be feeling pretty comfortable going into the final game of the day. But again, this opened up an opportunity very specifically for Tyson and Esports Arena. And Esports Arena seemingly taking advantage of that, getting some good frags, getting into the late game, into the top 5. Of course, they do end up falling there to Excedrin, who picks up the win, but that's some more good points there for Esports Arena. Excedrin, though, doing a really good job. T-Squared mentioned it, holding that high ground for as long as possible. They're able to clean up the one red, and then they do something similar to what we've seen early on in that day, that patient poking and prodding push, not overcommitting too early. They get in, they clean up intel in the end of that game and grab a nice win here in game number 5. Let's look at our Mobile 1 high performance moment here for game 5 as we get ready for our final one of the day. And it is, of course, Excedrin here coming in to clean up Team Esports Arena. The Maggie ult in there from Kimchi Lee. Enemy and Cruising doing a lot of good damage. Kimchi gets the first knock, and there's a lot of players here to clean up, but Excedrin able to back off. They get off the bats that they need. Enemy here with that car. We've talked about it before. Excedrin is so successful when Enemy has the car in hand, and Klein trying to clutch up here, but unable to do so as it's Cruisin' finishing things off. Keeping Excedrin alive in this play was huge because you feel like whoever wins this fight wins the game, and Excedrin was able to do exactly that. So they did just a good job of getting off the heels when they needed to and hitting the most clutch shots, and Cruisin and Kimchi clutching up in this one after I should say Enemy goes down early is just so well played from Excedrin as Esports Arena Falls and Excedrin grab their first win of the day. We're going to go to a break right now. When we come back, we've got our final game of the night. We will cap off open night here for VIZIO Week when we come back.
All right, welcome back to Series E. Just before the break, we had Team Excedrin taking a much-deserved victory there in game number 5. They also put a stop to Team Esports Arena, who were looking for a very strong run there in game number 5. But honestly, after that performance, both teams, both Esports and Excedrin, are looking strong to finish it off to maybe quite possibly make a top second place finish. We'll see if maybe VIZIO going down so early there in game number 5 leaves open the opportunity for other teams to quite possibly take first place today.
Yeah, it's all about making sure that you're securing your points before ESA comes and takes them right now, okay? Because they are running through this lobby, and if they don't lose this 50-50, you got to be scared the way that they were playing. I was so impressed with Phony and the way that he was able to, utilize his charge rifle. As oddly as that sounds, the man carried the charge rifle from beginning to the end. At one point, charge rifle EVA 8 was his go-to combo, and I don't know if I could take it seriously. I don't think he was taking it serious either. Like, how did I get this many kills with this weapon?
I mean, it was his lucky charge rifle, right? During that 50-50, he ends up getting the double knock with 2 shots there at the beginning. So at that point, you know, you got to take old Trusty with you into the late game, which is absolutely what he did. But again, it seemed like that was that big trap, right? Every team that tried to push IA on that hill where the Watson was set up just kind of trapped themselves. Excedrin almost went down to it because of the great movement coming up from ESA. We have to give them credit for that. Even as a 2-man, they tried to challenge for that third party. It was great to see.
Yeah, it was exciting to see, and that's what it's all about, right? Is pushing as fast as possible in this meta, taking fights as fast as possible. Third parties are going to be coming from all over the place, and typically Game 6 and open nights are the fastest pace out of all of them because they understand the math that needs to be taking place. And you know, a lot of these teams are like, all right, let's just try to almost grief the lobby with our aggression, and it makes it very exciting to see.
All right, here we go. Our final game of the day for Open Night. During VIZIO week, we'll be joining on board with Team Excedrin. Our winners from game number 5, dropping down at Checkpoint. I believe they have been challenged there, or at least we've seen them early fighting inside of Checkpoint. They're keeping an eye on the skies for now, just to see if anyone swerves onto them. But it does seem like it is largely free. You can see that Kimchi Lee is taking a very wide flight path, and so they will have this free for themselves. No beacon scans, unfortunately, for them, but they might be able to rotate for one.
Who needs a beacon when you're playing a composition like this, Jamerson? We all know what they're looking for, and that's a brawl, and rightfully so. But, you know, the way that they were able to play the previous game, very impressed with that one. VIZIO, they've been just non-stop aggressive all day, but methodical in their aggression, and now they have, again, this 50-50 that I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Jamerson, did they have 50-50s every single game tonight?
Every single game, except like game number 3, it just never amounted to a fight, but they were still getting contested on their drop. This time around, though, they got the first knock onto Mercy. Blitz coming in from behind. That's going to be Kazir going down. And only one player remaining here, so Team VIZIO will not fall prey to the 50-50 here. As Borden now will go ahead and chase down that last player. That is so terrifying. He's got the Mozambique and the G7 Scouts to finish things off. Ankle biters once again are out.
That is a tough pill to swallow there for ankle biters going against the team in first place. Now the Redcoats looking for a third party, but looking a little scared, right? You don't want them to fully heal, but at the same time, you need all 3 of your members to be with you shoulder to shoulder as they're ready for this. And the push is being halted temporarily. There goes a nice ultimate for Newcastle. Blake, who's going to get in there, but he doesn't have time to go and hit that res. Now he's going to go and hit that one. Now, I like this play from Razor. While that's happening, that's going to allow Box of T to basically make whatever play that he wants to do. Can he heal, or is he going to go back for the Thirst and the Armor Swap? It looks like he's going to go for the Thirst and the Armor Swap instead. Great execution from Razor to recover quickly.
Yeah, Blake, that was a great ultimate just to keep him alive. You can see they were almost trying to Thirst Sang, I think, for the quick armor swap, but ultimately with Infernal going down, Razor will survive the fray. Esports Arena continuing that momentum that they had in game number 5. They have a team stuck inside the IAC Armory, so this 50-50 is going to take a little bit longer to take place, but here comes the first Arc Stars. There's the Maggie ultimate as well, as that team is trying to funnel themselves out. Stuck inside, though, because of that gravity lift. Might actually be keeping him alive. You can see now, that's your ultimate will spot. One player's kind of stuck inside the fizzy lifty drink there, but as he's forced down, you can see Klain now has to be careful himself. He has that heartbeat sensor out, though. Only tags 1 with it, but he's still able to utilize that information quite well. Esports Arena still taking this one cautiously, even though they feel like they have the positional advantage. They are forced back as they give up the high ground. Ponyhead is here, though. Wingman PK this time around, dishing out some decent damage. 72 onto Koche to take him out with a 38. That choked up PK, as Plugged Cube will be the next one to fall. Esports Arena in the 2v1 now. Should be able to finish this one off. The 55, the Riot Drill,
wow,
just a little bit short, unfortunately, for Phonyhead there. As they actually back away, there we go. Nice wig, we'll go ahead and finish that off. Esports Arena getting the early +3.
Shout out to McDonald's Wi-Fi, though. You know, first of all, fighting with the fizzy lifting drink, very difficult because that also gives you the hiccups. So that has to be accounted for. the entire time. There's no way they recovered from the hiccups quite yet, but in all seriousness, a very long fight for both of those teams, and ESA has not been taking their time with these fights. They're trying to end them quickly, so the fact that McDonald's Wi-Fi lasted that long is a good testament to their skill level. Honestly, they should, not be proud that they necessarily, died. No one's, stoked that they're sitting in the death screen now, but at the same time, that's a very, very good team that they just went against.
Unfortunately, here for Team VIZIO, they lost out on Blitzen, and it seems like, it was kind of the Octane syndrome, right? You're just hitting your queue, you're getting way far ahead of your team, and you're so separated that there might have been a 3-man lurk down by Thunderwatch that he wasn't aware of. I mean, that team basically popped everything as soon as they heard the Octane. The Seer ultimate was thrown down for elevator music. I imagine maybe they even used that Singularity just in case to make sure they're finished off. EM, though, posturing like they might be sticking around here for some time as Team Razor actually making a push out, I believe, onto Esports Arena. No, it's going to be IA this time.
Yeah, IA has some pretty good placements overall in Stormpoint, but it looks like they are not long for this world. Is also ESA going to get involved in another fight very similar to what they did before? There was 3 teams eliminated and they got 2 of them. This time 5 teams eliminated. They've already bagged 2 squad wipes as well. Nice, we're going to go with the R301 PK combo. Blake, who's got the same thing in his back pocket. So PK seems to, you would think with the EVA 8 buffs, people would stop using the PK, but I love that they didn't really nerf anything and they kind of just buffed a majority of these weapons. There's been a couple of, minor changes here and there to certain ones that I'm not going to dive into, but every single shotgun is viable right now. Mozam, fortunately, still gets the hammer points, so that's still viable. Yes, it's the lower of the tier of the shotguns, but, the EVA 8's not just going to be the go-to shotgun. You could still use the PK. You could see a lot of our pro players and partner players are still going with that as an option.
Ooh, someone's Sinus getting absolutely demolished as we join on board with Team Nerf. They had the entry there. 2 players running down from that low, trying to push into the stairwell. 1 more up top as we join back on board with Elevator Music, trying to gatekeep VIZIO, but Nigo Hard might go down, actually, as he will. It's going to be another squad. That's going to be Ganks coming in for that Ganks, and throughout all of this, Elevator Music now, as Kiani is trying his best to survive. He's hitting up the bat, and that might mean he actually ends up just going down here. I don't know if he'll have the opportunity to hit up the syringe. He is actually outside of the zone, so he is safe for now. Graham is cleaning up the rest of this fight for himself. Ganks gets thirsted here as he's still taking this 1v1. Needs the help of Kiani in just a moment as they're actually trying to pop that res. Goes for that re-peek, and Graham will fall, but looks like they will be able to clean this one up. Now down to 12 squads. You were not kidding. You said this is probably going to be the fastest game, but Kiani has no choice. He just full commits and he goes down.
And everybody goes down. Neither one of those players wanted a syringe, and that's just the changes with the new Storm, right? All of these fights, you have to take them, and it puts you in this weird situation. Do I heal? Do I finish this one off? Obviously, no heat shields in competitive, so you can't save that one for the last second, but death by elevator music, Jamerson. What a interesting way to go out.
I mean, that's how I always feel when I hear the elevator music, when I'm being held on hold. When I'm on, with tech support, it's all the same. For Team Razor, though, they might have Team Esports Arena back up against the ropes. You can see that Clan has been thirsted off by Twerkaholic. So again, 3 teams still in the area right now. Magic bleeding out, and Esports Arena are taken out as Razor ends up finding the rest of them. Twerkaholics will take this opportunity to try and get the res, and now Razor doesn't seem like they're aware of where Twerkaholics are.
Probably by a wall. That's what Twerkaholics do. So we'll see exactly where they're going to be posted up. Blakeu has been playing really, really well on this Newcastle, especially in this game. And I'm excited to see, again, people taking legends that haven't had much time and mastering them. Vantage and Newcastle, 2 of our new introductions, already being introduced in this composition, which means that there's a high ceiling for the skill gap that can come with that type of play style. So we'll see what Razor is going to be able to do. And again, Razor is one of those teams at the bottom of the accumulative leaderboard, so they're going to really have to step it up. And hello, talk about 3 kills.
Oh no, they end up getting 2 knocks there. Jet and Rambo gone. Messiah with the godlike timing on that Valkyrie ultimate now. The 1v3. Nerf will just go ahead and finish this one off. I mean, after something like that, I'm surprised that, you know, Icy still has, like, the wherewithal to be like, okay, let me try and hole up here. And that might have actually bought enough time. Mike and Ike coming in for the third party, but they take a lot of damage for it, and now they're stuck. The Singularity comes in. The Arcstar narrowly missing. Wiz backing away, almost gets cracked and almost goes down.
Yeah, nice ultimate on the wall, though, so we can heal and see exactly where these players are going to be coming from. Problem is it's in a spot where it could easily be destroyed. It was just to buy some time. Nice stick coming in from MJ. He also has his EVA 8 out, but he needs Wiz to heal before he can go and do anything. So with that damage being traded, it's only just to buy time for his team to heal. Nice job placing down the Wrecking Ball as well, but it's absolute chaos over here inside of this building.
Yeah, it's just press every ability at this point. Swings on out. They get the one knock on to Forsey as Fearing Live gets thirsted off. It's down to a 2v2. Turns, charging forward, gets the knock on to MJ. Now Team Nerf, they've got the man advantage. It's the 2v1 as Mike and Ike ends up getting cleaned up by Team Nerf. What a turnaround. It was Mike and Ike that were looking and posturing to try and come in for the third party up against them. Well, you can see there that they were able to fight back. For Team VIZIO, they were never able to recover Blitzen. So now it's going to be the two-man of Borden and Sung to try and finish this one off. But for them, it's all about just honestly playing the clock, just playing to try and make it to the top here because they had a fairly comfortable lead after game number 4.
This is like the season 14, meme for your rank games. One team that's perfectly postured up on down beast, and everybody else on the outside just fighting. And it's like John Travolta with his arms up in Pulp Fiction. He's just like, "Where is everybody? We've been sitting here playing over towards down beast. This is definitely going to be the god spot. Where is everybody?" But with 7 squads left, all of them on the outside most likely going to face off before we even get to zone number 4.
Yeah, I can't imagine right now what the teams are thinking. 7 squads remaining at round number 3. Noxious, a little bit cornered here, but they do have options to get out of here. They do have that Valkyrie Skyward Dive. Again, it's so difficult to call, especially here on Stormpoint, whether or not the changes to Valkyrie allows you to make it over a lot of these mountains. I mean, we even had some close calls on World's Edge where we didn't know if they were going to make it across.
Yeah, everybody has to relearn what your rotations are going to be because, yes, you may run into the mountain, but you also don't want to, fall short on your rotation too and end up just giving yourself free kills. So there's a huge learning curve that happens. But again, if you're not playing Valkyrie, you need to be considering landing at a spot that's going to have a replicator or, getting into the zone faster. You have to use your brain a little bit more in terms of where you're going to go and rotate, or you could just take a page out of this person's book and use the Trident.
Yeah, Sung pushing up with that Beast of the Hunt, actually. They need the scans. As a 2-man, they only have the 2 eyes, really, to play off of. And so that scan allows them to clear out this building for free, and they actually make it into center zone. I believe last we checked, there was a team, like you said, on top of Downed Beast, or actually inside of Downed Beast. That's Twerkaholics. Might have been able to spot them out. They've got a Bloodhound scan of their own, so if Magic is able to hit it onto the 2 members there, they might actually go for the full send. Curiosity is actually posturing forward already. Gets himself that red Evo shield. There goes the scan. They do note that it is 2 players. They're still playing this one cautiously as Logislays is looking for possibly an angle to spot them out, but they're not going for the full send. The scan out from the opposite end is just keeping Twerkaholics at bay.
It's a good opportunity to potentially take a fight inside of the building, but surprise, surprise, all of a sudden Nerf is rotated over towards the high ground.
Ooh.
Sniper's mark going to be landed onto Sung, and this gun is just so dang strong. Nice use of the Vantage ultimate right there, and the big question is, can they get the finish? Messiah's going to go in for the flank. Looks like Turns is interested in pushing as well, and with this many squads left, why not? Get aggressive, get your kills, and get back to your spot.
Yeah, everyone's doing the math. They know that a lot of these fights are going to be largely isolated right now. For Team Nerf, they are the kill leaders, or at least Messiah is with 4, 3 assists himself. The charge rifle, though, means the instant turnaround for them. Can't really charge across that open ground. Now Nerf trying to hold center zone. They do have to worry about their back once again. Do spot out that squad. You can see the pings going down. Noxious making their way to the mouth of the downed beast, but McLovin, ends up taking a lot of damage there and has to take a pit stop, but they do successfully make it onto the top here. They are getting challenged now, though. That gravity lift being used. Nerf is going to go ahead and full send it onto them. They lost them in the fray just a little bit. Having that whole angle being held down actually on the low ground gives them a moment of pause, but that's huge connect, and that's allowing Forsey to come in for that free kill onto McLovin.
Is that a 140 fragnate? I had no idea that I could do that much damage. McLovin didn't stand a chance. Nice job from Nerf. Again, isolating certain members. And now that has to be the Bangalore ultimate from the Twerkaholics, who were originally on the down beast. Forsey's going to end up eating that damage just to save his spot because he doesn't want to cross on over towards the open towards his teammates. But now the rest of his team needs to cover him so he can get out, and dropping the players in the vicinity seems to be one way to go, and do so. Everyone flying into the air right here. Everyone snuck into Willy Wonka's factory and stole the drink.
Oh man, Team Nerf trying their best to fight on in. They do have 2 players there. There we go for the peak. Noxious has been eliminated. Now it's Turns, who is the lobby kill leader. Excedrin have been largely quiet for a lot of this game, as they haven't been able to really find too many fights. The ring basically pulling on over towards them, and they have not left this area. They have not left checkpoint. Ultimately will get the kills on to FKA now. Down to 5 squads. It looks like possibly 1 rat running around. We'll find out who that is in just a moment, as Blakey and Boxa T rejoining Sang Lion inside the center of this building. And so it's all coming down to now Borden trying his best to survive. We weren't able to check in with the Mobile 1 leaderboard beforehand, but I mean, he is getting valuable placement points for his squad to try and secure that first place.
Yeah, plus those kill points too that you saw. 2 for him. Not quite sure what the rest of the team has, but most likely a couple more in their back pocket. And with the day that they've had, securing the dub, definitely the thing that they're looking for. So trying to wrap this one out as much as humanly possible. Razor, a team that needs the points for the accumulative leaderboard. They've had some pop-off moments today. This could be their moment to win a game. And then you have Nerf, who had a little bit of a slow start and started to pick things up over towards the tail end, especially in this game.
All right, the sniper mark out for Forsey onto Kimchi Lee, and he's actually going to go down. Sang finds the angle for Team Razor. Now everyone focusing down. Excedrin here, another great connect out from Forsey, as they are looking to get all of these kills. You can see the gravity lift being used now, as Excedrin are just completely backed up. The bow check bow as well to really put an end to Excedrin. Cruisin will fall. Only 1 player remaining. Messiah, though, has to be careful. The ring is closing in. He is isolated. As you can see, enemy is trying his best to survive. Razor is trying to steal away this kill. It's going to be Messiah ending up securing that thirst onto enemy now. Nerf, though, have given up the height, and that's going to allow Logislays and them to actually poke out, but Forsey does find an angle to try to play off of here on the left side.
So 2 teams playing on the outside. It looks like Razor is interested in posturing up inside of this building and going for the safer bet. Probably going to wait for these 2 teams to fight and then end up poking out for the third party. Now, the only problem with setting up like that is potentially getting sent on by Horizon team, and Twerkaholics does have Horizon if they want to decide that they want to push down that, as maybe Nerf gets distracted with Borton down below. But right now, when you look at the positioning, Nerf is furthest away from all of the action, which gives them a little bit of an advantage even though they don't have the high ground.
Yeah, it's coming down to a 3v3v1. Borton just trying his best. I mean, he's already secured 5 placement points for his team, so I feel like they should be comfortably in first place. It's all just basically come down to a race for second place. Curiosity getting some decent damage off, but he's got to be careful in how he pokes. He is running low on that R301. You've got Magic running double light as well, and so they are basically starving themselves out with every single shot that they take, and they're going to need it here for the final fights. They're going to be one of the first squads, it seems, forced out of their cover when zone number 6 ends up closing.
Now it's just a matter of who can lay down the most damage and force each other into one another. And I like the way that Logislays has been playing on this Bangalore, always going for the head glitches whenever necessary. Running a little bit low on ammo, so that's why he's not letting the shots completely rip, and it's his only like medium to far range weapon right now. So being really smart about the way that he's approaching the situation. 2 more clips in this one, and that's all she wrote. But he can't use his ultimate right now on either team. You can see one team's inside on the left hand side, one team on the right hand side. Borton's still ratting it out, so they're gonna have to somehow, some way force these players outside to make that useful.
We'll see. Maybe he has more for that Volt as Nerf now. I think they have spotted out Borton, who's trying his best to rat inside of the downed beast. And Forsey is trying to take him out. But the absolute presence from the high ground is going to keep them at bay for the time being. You can see when we take a look at the buildings and at the rings, both Razor and Nerf are going to be pretty happy with their positions. It does seem like that high ground team will be that first squad down. As turns now, just making sure that they don't get flanked. Messiah going wide right as well. As turns is just keeping an eye on them. But you can see the shots are coming out from that high ground, keeping them at bay. This is a very dangerous situation now. Nerf do have the option though, and they can't just back away for the reset inside of the building.
Force has been an absolute monster with the Sniper's Mark II, so I'm curious to see when he decides to use that one, because the players on the high ground seem like a viable option at this point. And yes, the Bocek still has 54 arrows overall, but if he can land a couple of Sniper's Mark shots, he's going to be in a great position to potentially bully these players off, maybe even get a knock or a kill to buy them some extra time. But Turns, if you wonder where all of the healing is gone, he's stolen all of the batteries.
Yeah, I'm watching Force. He had 1 bat left, and Turns has 9 in his inventory that whole time. So glad he was able to finally hand that one on over. You can see now, though, the final ring is closing on in. Mobile respawn beacon down for Turns, just to provide a little bit more cover from the Razor angle here. It's actually going almost directly into the center of the zone. The smoke's out here, and I'm wondering, that team up top, how much ammo do they have left? We were noting that they were running dry, and so things look a little bit more difficult. There we go. We got a mag and a half for Curiosity left, and here's the drop down. The full 3-man onto Borton, who's trying his best to survive. He does take to the sky for the time being, and he does actually make it into the center of the zone. Got the gravity coming in. The Archstar connects, but they do clear it just in time to back away, narrowly surviving, having just enough time to hit the bats before the ring ends up touching them. Borton ends up going down, only securing top 4. The final 3v3v3. Twerkaholics getting focused down now. As you can see, Magic is trying to push up. All the teams know where they are. The Bloodhound scan comes out for Dr. Magic, but they are going to be forced out eventually.
Yeah, it's so much easier when you're able to watch, but in an instance like that, potentially smoking over towards the side so you can rotate, but they're just trying to survive as long as possible, and Nerf's going to love what they see. Action directly in front of them, everybody basically weak. Turns is not really concerned about this Horizon ultimate for some reason, and that's going to be Razor going out. Final member from the Twerkaholics, and Nerf taking game number 6. With a decent amount of kill points, that's big for them. Remember, Jamerson, they were, I believe, in 4th place in the cumulative leaderboard, so they really needed that.
Yeah, I mean, every single point at this stage of the game, when the top 5 teams currently in our cumulative leaderboard are only separated by about 48 points. From 1st to 5th place, it was 48 points, so every single one matters there at the end of the day. But yeah, congratulations for Team Nerf, for taking that win. We saw a lot of great fights taking place. Fortunately for our squads that were really trying to press the issue and really build off the momentum from game number 5, Excedrin and Esports Arena going down fairly early on. VIZIO consistently throughout the day getting contested here, and only had one bad game, I would say, and that was in game number 5 where they were not able to win that 50-50.
Fantastic day for VIZIO, and it's VIZIO week, so love that they lived up to the hype. This team really started to heat up over the last couple of games. I was excited to see what they would have done if they played like this style the entire time, but they're playing on World's Edge. They're typical, get into the middle of the zone, set up, but with this type of talent and, with it being open night, you're not going to have the level of talent that you would have on our pro night tomorrow, so you could take these fights a little bit more confidently, and they were able to do that with an amazing game number 5. Got shut down early in game number 6. Overall though, this was a much needed last game for teams that needed this. For example, Razor, Nerf, both teams on the outside looking in. So it's big for them to, keep their composure and realize that there is, a lot more games to be played in this season. So if they can just pick up points, like you said, every single game matters. And I love that they kind of kept their composure all the way throughout the night.
Yeah, and 2 wins for VIZIO. That's going to be huge. Tyson had some decent games as well. Kind of slowed down a little bit towards the end there, but it was a great showing, I would say, out of most of our partnered squads throughout the night. Again, it's a lot of adjustments, right, with the new season coming in, and a lot of teams are trying the new things out. I love to see that we're seeing a lot of Vantage gameplay. I didn't know exactly how she would slot in, but it seems like teams are playing her extremely well, especially as a fragger role with that extra movement ability. It's fantastic to see. But that is going to go ahead and do it for us. We're going to go ahead and send it on over to Yeso to close out the show and announce our winners for the night. So Yeso, go ahead and take it away.
Hats off to those 2 gentlemen crushing it on the cast today, and Nerf finishing the night with a win there. And interestingly enough, we really had good moments from all of our partner teams here tonight. Team Esports Arena as well. A couple of wins from VIZIO to start it off. Tyson had a win. Nerf had a win. Razor getting into a lot of late games. Excedrin had a win themselves. So really everybody showing up here tonight. Very, very fun to watch. And Nerf with a wonderful nightcap to this one. Look at that. 20 kills for the squad. Messiah leading the way. Everybody over 2K. Messiah even eclipsing the 3,000 damage mark. So what a finish there for Nerf. And let's look at the finish here for today. Our final Mobile One high performance moment here as we take a look back at game number 6. And it's an earlier fight here for Nerf. And Messiah just gets a wonderful angle from the roof on that Valkyrie ultimate, an easy beam on the Valk to stall this entire redeploy. And then it's just easy pickings here for Nerf. They can kick down the door, finish this last player, and Intel gets absolutely wiped out. And I just love, we had the little slowdown the first time there. Oh, just absolutely beaming Jet there. Intel caught with their pants down, essentially, and Nerf so quickly are able to take advantage. Rambo quickly follows, and then they could just hunt down Icy here for the finish. Great play there from Nerf, and they snowballed that into a huge final game. Let's close out the night the right way, though. Let's take a look at our Mobile One leaderboard here to end off the night. I don't think we will be surprised about who ends up in first place. It is, of course, Team VIZIO. But Esports Arena rounds out the top 2 there with 57 points, just edging out Excedrin, and with that big performance from Nerf, a 32-point Game 6, they jump all the way up into 4th at just a point behind Excedrin. So well played there, everybody but Intel in terms of the partner squads on the left side of that leaderboard. That is exactly where you want to see them, of course, as we head towards Pro Night tomorrow night. That'll be a very fun competition, and we will keep things rolling then. A couple of quick reminders before we head home. One, get in on our VIZIO giveaway, exclamation point giveaway in Twitch chat right now. You can win some awesome stuff there. Make sure to donate, exclamation point chalk. I was right the first time, I messed it up the second time. Please consider donating and supporting our friends at Chalk. They do so much wonderful work for kids here in Orange County. We greatly appreciate the opportunity to continue to work with them, and we hope you will help us support their fantastic efforts. Be here tomorrow night for Pro Night and the rest of the week as we continue the VIZIO week action. It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. I'll be here, and I hope you will be too. That's going to do it for us here tonight. My name is Yeso. A pleasure to host for you, as always, for myself, the entire live broadcast crew, and everybody here at Esports Arena. Have a great rest of your night. We'll see you tomorrow.